G'day, you lot. Have I got audio? Have I got audio or not? I'm a little bit confused because I'm not hearing any sound at all. Anyone? Anyone? On earth have I done? Yeah. How freaking bizarre. Rocky, sorry about that. Schmozzle. Don't know if you can hear me. I am testing a bit of audio stuff. G'day everybody. Fingers crossed people are hearing me. Are you hearing me? Alright, did the music play as well? Did my intro video play properly? That would be ace to know as well. Excellent. The song is playing. The song is good. Stuck in a rave. Let me go back there. Oh yeah, I probably should close that, shouldn't I? Or at least pause that, minimize that. And there we are. Hi, g'day everybody, or should I say g'day you mob. How are we all today? Just have to stare at that. Yeah, looks good. Looks very, very good. Holy dooly. Here we go. Here we go with the scrollings. Tab Tom and GRB, I believe, were up there first in with the best dressed and all that. Oh, pardon me. But, crikey, you guys have already been so busy in the chat that I can't even scroll back up to the top. I've missed everyone who's come in early. But from memory, it was Tab Tom, GRB, Galar, I think, was in there. But anyway, I'll go from where I'm at. Dragon Lair, hello. Scott's Aquatics, g'day, Scott. Other Scott was there. I'm sure I saw Alien World Aquatics there before. Bob Kaler. How's it going, Mickham? Oh, what was that song, Mickham? Banana Rama or someone? Anna's Hobbies. Hello, Anna. How do you do? Big D, how's it going? Zen Ginger, hi Zen. Sandy Doty, how are you? Chewy, g'day mate. Blake's Aquatics, hello brother, how are ya? Good to see you. I go good so far indeed. So far. I don't know if that silliness works. Maybe it does. Who can tell? Fiddling. Ro, how's it going? Who else have I missed? Galar, Priscilla, how's it going? Tampa Tom said hi to you. We'll get a UFC update from Tampa Tom at some stage through the show, I hope, because I didn't get around to checking out results. Tropico, how are you, Fish Tropic? Good to see you, mate. Been digging those fish pictures on your Instagram. Looks like some good fishing. Those pike put up a good fight, don't they? So I've heard. 44 Mag Guy, Derek, how's it going? Phil Emerson, Soapbox Debris. How are you, Phil? Welcome aboard. Good to see you, mate. Cody, son, how's it going? Sand Creek Aquatics. Nath, how are you? Nevea, how are you going? Siggy out again. Probably shouldn't start with a Siggy. End up wasting half of it. Actually, with this microphone and set up, all of the sucking and blowing noises all probably come screaming through the mic as well. C23, how are you, Clarence? Who else have I missed? Multi-tank addiction. Chris, how are you? Pamela Punchy Pants, how's it going? My chat just did do a massive scroll, so keep those typey comments coming in, and I will endeavour to not miss saying g'day to everyone one by one. Joel G, Kia ora, young fella. Hat-Trick Farm, how's it going? Whoops. Yeah, I missed John Larson as well. Thanks, Pam. I guess that's very handy when other people say hi too. I'll get rid of that. Whoops. Get that back. Oh, yeah. Breakfast bourbon. The best kind of bourbon. Not really. Typey comments, that's them. It's kind of what I have to rely on, I think, because I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to get any audio back at me. So what I might have to do, hello Maria Z, how's it going? That's unfortunate, Nath. Your wellness must be a sine curve of ups and downs, mate. Oh. Likewise for you, Big D. I hope your stuff's going okay, Big D, too. Can't do that now. So today, fingers crossed, the plan is to hopefully delve into or try to dive into a slightly slightly new format where instead of narrowing our scope just to the world of fish, I'll have a panel discussion on stuff. We haven't really nutted down what stuff we're going to talk about, but I might kick off primarily to lay eyeballs on some very pretty visuals, but also as a secondary purpose to test my audio. I'm going to bring up the first member of my panel. Oh, g'day, Ugly Man. How are you? So without further ado, here comes someone you all know. Oops, I'll wait till that goes back down, shall I? Yeah, all good? All right, I'll take that as a yes. Welcome aboard, Scunge Princess.
Hey.
Oh, excellent. I do have audio. How are you today, love?
I'm okay.
Okay. I'll allow it.
Yeah, just okay.
Righto.
I'm
sorry, go.
No, you go.
I was just going to keep saying hi and ask if you can see the chat and stuff. Make sure we get the housekeeping out of the way.
Oh, Pam, I was a bit embarrassed about that because I have an appointment after this where I have to go to school. So I got ready beforehand and then I saw myself on the camera. And because, like, say last time, I just crawled out of bed. It was on. So I feel a little bit, like, fancy.
Well, I thought last time you looked really pretty as well. So I think you do that climbing out of bed and looking really nice thing very well. I think you do it very well.
That's all right, because at least if you climb out of bed and you look like shit, then you're like, oh, I just climbed out of bed, right? And if you climb out of bed and you look like slightly less like shit, bonus. But if you go to all the effort of making yourself look nice and you look nice, it's like, well, so you put an effort into it and you did it. It's not very special. And if you don't look very nice, then bummer.
Yeah, you've wasted all that effort. G'day, Anthony. How are you, mate? And Patrick. Who else have I missed? They'll talk eventually. Let us know if you're lurking back there in the chat so we can say hi to you. Yeah, well, that's absolutely right. If you put in all that effort and get the same result, you know, why bother? Why bother at all? Indeed.
Although I was laughing with Soren, it looks like I have lipstick on my lips, but like I don't. They look like lipstick, don't they? Sorry.
Well, it's maybe
I was just laughing
natural glow, healthy flesh and all that.
Yeah, I can't put shit on my lips because then I eat it.
Right.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, well, who knows what they put in lipsticks. But you know, it's good that your kids are taking an interest in your external appearance and question stuff and want to know stuff.
Sure. Well, he looked like he was wearing blush. See.
All right. So you're having the full.
It was a bit fun.
You look like this. You look like that. It's good.
A bit more like, look at that.
Was it really in that context, though?
Yeah.
All right. So what's been going on?
I think my fish is going to die.
The little male endler that we were talking about last night.
Yep.
Bummer.
Now he's laying on the bottom.
That's never a good sign.
But so, like, the girls are just fine. They're just still happy. They come watch me in the shower and stuff. begging for food. They just seem really happy, but he just is, just yesterday. He seemed fine the day before yesterday. And then yesterday he was doing all that weird stuff where he was laying on the leaf a lot. Kept on going to that one leaf and resting there.
It is very interesting.
Because the last male died as well, like quite quickly. He was fine and then he was dead. And so I don't know what's going on.
And the bubbles are still running in there, aren't they? Yeah, it's intriguing. It is like as we all know, it is a lot more difficult to maintain a small body of water than it is to maintain a large one. But just the simple fact that the girls are doing fine and the boy is not, makes it very intriguing. Temperatures was definitely what I suggested at first, Chewy, but it's very difficult to heat a little fish bowl without putting it on the fire or something.
Yeah, well, I was going to move it onto a little table here, like kind of in the, where the keyboard is, just near the fire, kind of. So it would, and because I've had the fire burning nonstop for the past, like, I don't know, 48 hours maybe.
Yeah, right.
I try and just keep it going because it uses less wood if I just keep it burning.
Sure.
So I thought that might be a nice cozy winter spot for the bowl to move to.
Sure.
So that.
How are you, Joe Coffee? Oh, I'm going through you now, am I? And when I'm loud. Yeah, that's Ugly Man makes a pretty good suggestion about the pad heater, but I still haven't been able to locate that little one of mine.
What are they worth?
Oh, maybe 10 to 20 bucks, something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Matty D, how's it going? And Joe Coffee, I don't know if you heard me. Jono Johnson, the man with a new lung. How you traveling, Jono? Hope you're healing up well and ready to take on the world. I know I've got a little one somewhere and they are very useful, very handy, but by the time I discover mine and get it to you, it may be too late. And going back on Chewy's comment before too, the fish is very, very young, Chewy, so he's certainly not an old age thing. It's either a heat issue or an illness issue. And again, if it's an illness that's contagious, is very intriguing that the females are doing fine. Pardon me. And there's maybe an inch and a half of pea gravel in the bottom of it. Is Chewy's follow-up question. And some Java moss in there and some pothos growing in out of the water to do that old nitrate trick.
Yeah.
Back to John Johnson as well. Are you still in the hospital then, John? John Johnson, for those who don't know, has had a lung transplant in the last couple of weeks. And from what I can garner, Jono Johnson is still in the hospital healing and making better, which I guess...
Oh, can you please turn it off?
Does make sense with such a massive operation like that. Thoughts. And yes, that's him, Bob. Blake's father-in-law. So all our thoughts going out to you, Jono. Seems like you're doing pretty well. modern medicine nowadays is full of what they used to call miracles and good stuff and all that nice, pleasant things when it works. So all the best, Jono, and thanks heaps for hanging out with us while you're healing up. And Joe Coffey speculates that potentially your fish has a contagious form of prostate disease, or prostrate. Prostrate? No, prostate. Prostrate means that, doesn't it? Something like that. And I did see another question aimed at you, Scungy. If I can find it again to put it on the screen. GRB, our friend from the Western Australia, asks if there's any news on the markets, galleries opening around us, potentially, so you can get back to work and stuff, I guess, is the crux of his question.
That would be nice. I have not heard about when they're opening up the things for the markets. I did get approached by a lady recently about she was running an arts kind of market that she was doing, that she's sort of changing around and doing stuff, and she contacted me about wanting to be a part of it and saying she's starting up in September. So I don't know whether she's just put that as a date to be hopeful that, you know, rather than trying to plan it really soon, she's aiming for September, because then everything should be up and running. I also, because I've got an exhibition that was meant to go up before all of everything shut down, and I've had a message from the lady where I was going to be putting all of my stuff up. You want me to pass it up? But I haven't taken care of all of that yet, so I'm not sure about the date for that just yet. So I'm not sure, but I'm hoping soon.
Indeed. Soon would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think
it's been really, like, disheartening for me.
Sure.
I've found it yeah, I mean, I guess having kids home and everything, changing routines and stuff as well has contributed, and not going to life drawing and stuff has contributed, but I felt like with everything sort of closed down, it's impacted the my enthusiasm to do stuff.
I'm sure everyone can appreciate that. They're getting trapped at home and not being able to do much. It's easy to say, oh, well, I'm going to have so much time to do this, but it is definitely a motivation killer when you've got...
Well, instead, I've got a clean kitchen, which I've never had in my life.
What a good trade-off.
No. No, I do not think so.
Jessica Taylor is here. Hello, Jessica. And Ginger Graves. How are you, Ginger? Welcome aboard. Yeah, like I was saying, it's supposedly so much more extra time to play with, but instead it just shoots your motivation in the foot, or like you say, you direct that motivation down other avenues, which might be constructive and productive in some facets, but maybe not the ways you like them.
Yeah, I feel like all my creative energy has gone to, like, schooling and playing with kids, or keeping the house going and making, you know, doing lots of homely things.
Sure.
Redirected my creative energy.
Well, you know, I guess it's a what do you call it? A transitional thing. We've had to transition into this stuff and then mold ourselves into something a little bit different to what we were, and then hopefully we transition through that into more better stuff and places.
Well, I have sort of started doing some things though. I mean, we did the other night tea stuff, but I've done a few stuff that I was holding up on because I felt like I was forcing myself into doing it, like I had to do it. And so I was like, I should be spending time on that, but I wasn't feeling creatively motivated. And I have sort of gotten some work done on that I feel good about. So that stuff is coming back. It is finding its way back into the mix, I guess, as things like balance out, even out.
Anna's Hobbies agrees with you 1,000,000%. Inspiration is just not there. But also, Anna, do you find yourself in the same boat as Sarah, that your inspiration is being redirected into other things, or is it just gone out the window? Fingers crossed that you're still doing stuff and whatnot. Ty Hunsicker, how are you, Ty? Welcome aboard.
I think it's hard too if you're like just at home all the time to channel all that stuff. You don't have a lot of stuff coming in, so you're becoming, your world is smaller. There's less input.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's a huge thing, that you're not getting your fancies tickled by the outside world on a regular basis as you would if you're out and about. So it takes a lot more mental power, I guess, to find inspiration from the mundanest of things, i.e. home life, etc. Whoops.
But I was meant to pickle radishes this morning, but I'm like trying to make sourdough,
Pickling is always good.
Everything from scratch in the kitchen again.
That is very good indeed. Whoops, I am on the wrong thing. Smash that like if you feel obliged. That would be nice. Don't know why I'm doing that. Someone else normally does the hassling people for likes, Bizzo. But I just saw that it was sitting on a certain number. So I guess the word like popped into my brain and I felt like repeating it to the world. I don't know what else I can talk about right now. What else can we talk about right now? Firewood. That was good fun.
Yeah, except for like all of that whole tree that shouldn't have got cut up. But it's wonderful. You've done great, but you have to come back out, please.
So I can actually enjoy the fire.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. We all loves a good fire.
Come sit and sing songs in front of the fire with me.
Well, that would make a really nice live stream, wouldn't it?
Sure.
I already had.
We might need an extra beanbag or something.
Well, I kind of struggle on beanbags, but I'd push through and try and do my best at maintaining a guitar playing position whilst sitting on a beanbag. I will do my darndest.
It could be better than the floor, but then you said you couldn't do the floor, and we had that session in front of the fire on the floor that night with Mel.
Yeah, that's true. I did just readjust myself on a regular basis. That seems to help somewhat. And when you finally do stand up and move around, the blood does return to your legs and your buttocks at some stage. It's not like it's the end of the world, or if your muscles are going to atrophy based on an hour or so of sitting on one's butt doing not much at all.
You just got to get up for regular drinks is all.
That's a good point. Good point. Total Tropicals TV. How are you? Yeah, that sucks, Total Tropicals.
Gonna get some tea quickly.
All right, eh? While you do that, I will see what's going on down here. And maybe let's try and do this thing again with loads of comedy.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Good. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Hang on. Let me change this display so we're not so facey.
Yeah.
What's been going on?
Not much, man. I ended up talking really late with a friend who works at meat facilities and stayed up till 6 a.m. talking to him. And closed off my bottle of bourbon. So not a happy morning for me, but that's okay.
Well, you don't look like you're up till 6 a.m. You actually look like crazy refreshed and healthy and stuff. So maybe it's exactly what you needed.
Yeah, indeed. It was good to talk to him.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it is often very good to catch up with old friends and whatnot. And did you learn anything? You said he works in meat processing, did you, or packing, or what?
Yeah, cleaning.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he works really hard to make other people really rich.
Yeah. Well, like probably more than half of the planet, really. A lot more.
Yeah.
G'day, Max S. Welcome aboard. Can you see the chat too, Beast? On your screen?
Open it up. Yep, I'll check it out.
Just you've got lots of people saying g'day to you, etc., which is
guys.
A human thing to do is to say hello to people.
Sure.
If you can see that is good. I'm saying that because I'm lazy and I'd prefer that you read your own messages and that I don't have to relay everything,
Yeah, smart move. I'll check it out. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good time killer, it certainly would eat up minutes of the show to just constantly repeat things that people have already read once or twice.
Yep.
But, it's entirely up to you how you respond to comments directed in your direction.
For sure. Well, g'day to everyone who said hello. It's good to be back. After a week break, I had an eye infection and I look terrible. I look like a beaten up beast.
Man, that was quite brutal.
Yeah.
I'd bring a photo up and show people, but some people are probably eating dinner or something. So
yeah, don't want to see that.
It was quite full on that you wouldn't necessarily want to pardon me, wouldn't want to be looking at that sort of thing whilst on a meal or something like that.
No, it was ugly.
Ty Hunsicker accidentally put a bunch of vodka into my tank, my belly. No fish have been harmed. I would imagine, Ty, that it is quite easy to mistake and confuse your belly for a tank. Oh, I better fix that up. Sarah has returned.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey. How's it going?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good today.
I just want to stand up right quick and grab a beverage, and then I would like to potentially raise a topic of conversation that you guys might be interested in. So talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be back very shortly.
Sure.
I'm never very good at this bit.
Really? When he walks away.
I'm not good at coming up with stuff to talk about.
He's back pretty quickly. There we go.
I mean, the fridge is just there. I did say very shortly.
Yeah.
Lucky.
But don't let me interrupt.
Oh. I'd feel so much rougher if I was still smoking ciggies, that's for sure. Staying up to 6 a.m.
Yeah, they always,
this.
I think on a really big long night, sometimes it makes a lot of sense to ease up on the ciggies at a certain point, because I think they definitely do contribute to that nasty hungover feeling the next day.
Oh yeah. I had some big ones when I used to smoke, and that's so rough.
G'day, Scott Backer. Welcome aboard. Good to see you again, mate. Hope I didn't miss anyone else. Let us know if I did. Can I ask you guys if you watched it's pretty much dwindled from the massive skyrocket to fame that it had, and now we don't hear a lot about it. But did you guys watch the Tiger King show when that was on?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, I won't worry about talking about that then.
But I did see the Louis Theroux. Louis Theroux, he did a thing on him about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, right. Oh, I didn't see that actually.
That's the prequel.
Right.
The Tiger King. So that's worth checking out.
Is that on the YouTubes?
I've got no idea where you'd find it these days. But
yeah.
it was an eye opener, and I was just like, this guy is crackers. But the interviews with the dude, it was just like, oh man, what a mess. And,
it's certainly a wildcat. No pun intended, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Jessica Taylor going to bed. Good night, Jess. Thanks for hanging out. And Monica Lynn, welcome aboard, Monica. No, the reason I raised Tiger King in conversation, because I saw in the news today that the drama between Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin. There's a thing that came out that Carol Baskin has been awarded Joe Exotic's wildlife park in legal settlement, and I was gonna get use guys' input on what you thought, but if you haven't seen it, Josh, I'm not going to get much out of you, except I'm going to go and try and find that Louis Theroux one as well, because I do like that dude. He's got a very interesting and charismatic. Well, not necessarily charismatic, is it? It's possibly the opposite of charismatic. The way Louis Theroux does his interviewing and stuff. He's dry.
He's got a certain magic about him, though, doesn't he?
He does. He's very. That's an excellent way to put it. He is.
He draws stuff out of people.
Yeah, he's blessed with a certain kind of magic. I really like that, Sarah. That saying. But yeah, it's just intriguing because there's still. I think they did reopen the case against Carol Baskin because of all the stuff that came out from that TV series. So it will be intriguing to see where that goes. Especially that it was such a meteoric rise to, well, I don't know, fame, but how rapidly the whole world knew about Joe Exotic and what was going on. And then by proxy, Carol Baskin as well generated a lot of interest, and definitely interest in the theory that Ty Hunsaker posits that she possibly did indeed kill her husband allegedly, and I guess only time will tell. It might not though, because if they didn't work it out the first time,
if there's no like evidence of anything and she fed him to a tiger or something, then
yeah, it's going to take someone who knows stuff, a big thing to slip up or let go some stuff.
And unless he like magically turns up alive somewhere, unfortunately, if she didn't do it, she's never going to get that,
Yeah, or pretend the reprieve from it.
Yeah.
Because pretty much most of the whole world, except for Carol's devoted fans, pretty much believe that she did it. I mean, Joe Exotic, he provided many confounding, no, not confounding, but solid reasons for her being an evil, nasty human being, and he's such a convincing character himself that it was very easy to believe. As several young men found out, it was very easy to believe all of the words that came out of his mouth. And it's funny.
Oh, is he?
Is what?
He's not a fan of women.
No, I don't believe he is.
Yeah, he's one of those people.
Well, I think even though he does have homosexual tendencies, which there's nothing wrong with whatsoever, but I do believe that like you say, not being a fan of women, I think potentially he is a evil misogynist as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe his mum beat him or something when he was a child. Yeah, Total Tropicals raises an interesting point about him being Joe Dirt. There was whispers originally. I mean, I can only go on what nonsense I've read on the interwebs, but there was whispers at first that David Spade, famous for the titular Joe Dirt, was potentially going to play him in the movie version. And then I heard not long after that Nicolas Cage was also interested in playing the part. So, Nick must be a little bit hard up for money if he wants to play a role like that. But, he's probably also a sensible businessman, because if they get that movie made quick enough, before everyone's forgotten about them, that movie will make a mint. And Anna's hobbies, absolutely what I said before, most of the public believe she's guilty, apart from her brainwashed fans of what she does. Sarah, sorry.
Oh, I was going to ask what's Joe Dirt?
Joe Dirt is I believe, mid to late 90s movie character. Played by David Spade, and he was a real redneck trailer trash kind of character that I think it was it after Chris Farley's death, because I think David Spade was mostly known as being Chris Farley's.
Who's Chris Farley?
He was a very, very big young man, very funny man. David Spade and Chris Farley came through Saturday Night Live, which is an American television show where they do comedy skits. I'm not sure if you know Saturday Night Live or not. David Spade and Chris Farley came through the Saturday Night Live alumni around the same time, and they started making a few different movies together. So I always thought that because Chris Farley was, I'll just do it, larger than life character. He was a very big man, but he was a very larger than life character in more ways than one. He loved massive amounts of drink, massive amounts of cocaine, and he died young. And then David Spade, I guess, continued making movies and television. And Joe Dirt was potentially his first real big role, I guess, that set him apart from Chris Farley. I'm not 100% sure if I'm right about that, though, whether Joe Dirt was after Farley's death or not. I may need to get that confirmed by people closer to the inner circle of the Farley and the Spade. But yeah, Ty Hunsicker, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep were also movies, I think, with both those guys in it, weren't they? There was a another movie made in New Zealand called Black Sheep, which was an excellent movie, potentially a better movie than the American Black Sheep movie. Definitely worth checking out.
Hey, Big J.
Oh, Big J. How's it going, mate? Welcome aboard. Yeah, if you get chance to watch the New Zealand made Black Sheep, awesome film. One of those D or E grade excessively violent movies about genetically modified sheep. But you know, the sort of quality cinema that was coming out of New Zealand before Lord of the Rings, you know, absolutely blew the New Zealand cinema market apart, or up, I should say.
Hello.
I might get Joel G's Joel G, being a New Zealander, deeply involved in New Zealand cinema industry, might need to confirm that Black Sheep was before or after Lord of the Rings, and also confirm how awesome it is. Great movie if you get a chance, and if you like animatronic sheep eating humans and stuff like that. Thank you, GRB, coming through with the data. Joe Dirt, 2001. Farley passed in 97, or died, as they often say. And Pam, I think, is throwing us a joke. Do you know why the sheep herder committed suicide?
Nah.
Because he heard the song, I know there will never be another you.
Oh.
I do like a joke that is homophone based. Whoops.
There's a local way of being excited. It's like the Australian version of yeehaw, where people say you. And I've always wondered where that started, but apparently it's been around for a while.
Well, I would imagine that it's come from a similar thing to the Yahoo, that kind of stuff, but because, you know, we do like to speak quite lazily as Australians and eliminate as many syllables as possible, it just seems so much easier to turn Yahoo into a single syllable instead of multiple syllables.
Very
and
true.
as many of the viewers are potentially familiar with Thirsty Rabbit, another Australian fish YouTuber, it is his catchphrase, or one of his catchphrases is you. So generally when people see Thirsty Rabbit show up in a chat or something like that, that's the chorus he gets from the other people is you. But he does that. Whoa, that was a pretty good Thirsty Rabbit you just did then. That was like really close. Almost nailed it. Jesse, HC Aqua, how's it going? And Green Terror Keeper, Jill. How's it going, Jill? How's that divider going, Jill? Those fish still living and breathing and breeding?
Back in 2 secs.
Righto. Oh, and Rose, sorry. Yes, I did see. I did see your questions before. I'm assuming by asking such questions about Carol Baskin and whatnot that you didn't see the Tiger King show. But Carol Baskin is famous for her Facebook stuff with her large cat rescue. She does live streams on Facebook. I think I've not seen one myself. But yeah, that's what she's known for, is her big Facebook following. Yes, Monica, Beast is my friend. Is it the Beast? He is my friend. I'm not sure if you needed just a yes answer to that question or if I'm reading the question wrong. Or do you like mean on a more metaphysical kind of plane, who he is to me, sort of thing? But yeah, he's my friend.
I live down the road from Blacky. We're working out. We're really close in proximity, so we're thinking of doing a more close in the same premises video talk stuff. Do a stream on random stuff rather than having a fish focus, but that hasn't happened yet. But we'll wait and see.
We're working towards it.
It's nice and sunny here, so I may as well get a shot of the garden.
I mean, realistically, that would be a very nice backdrop to do live streams from, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And we've got a new router that's pretty decent.
So yeah, we'll knuckle down some technical stuff. Try and work out if we need extra hardware to make it work from one location, and start getting some production values and production ideas sorted, because obviously just diving in willy-nilly doesn't necessarily work all the time. Well, Dragonlair says that you don't sound as Aussie as I do, Beast. Dragonlair,
I've been told I sound all kinds of things depending on where I am at. When I go to Indonesia, they can't tell where I'm from. And Australians have called me American, and Americans have called me Canadian. And yeah,
it's interesting how different human ears perceive different things, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would essentially just put it down to just that you're probably better educated than I am. Something as simple as that. Just like Sarah sounds less Australian than me because she's got a reasonable education and she's a more sensible human than me.
Well, I don't know, because I think that a lot of the ways that we speak aren't just about being educated, but just in the way that we carry ourselves and express our own, personality. We choose certain, I don't want to say accents, but some things are heightened and some things are less for different reasons. But I also get called, asked where I'm from a lot.
Yep.
Only in Australia.
Yeah.
But, just other Australian people also where's your accent from? Where are you from? Mullumbimby. That's where I'm from. That's where I grew up. That's, and my kids have had it too, but obviously they're
they've learnt it from you.
Yeah, well, they're influenced by me, aren't they? There's a word I'm thinking of. It's not coming into my inflections. That's what I mean.
Sure. Yeah. It makes sense. I was just being facetious about the education thing. Everyone knows I have a PhD in BS, a BS PhD. And I don't know if you read that comment or not, Beast, but Scotty B says you're trying to class Blacky up, are you, Beast? That would be a futile effort.
Nah. There's no outclassing.
So that's you know, an indicator of the futility that he mentions in that comment is that yeah, there's no classing me up.
I'd never change you, Blacky. That's you're a golden boy. Golden boy from Mullumbimby. I'm just a ring-in. I've only been here for nearly 20 years. Moved up from down south.
Well, I think that's what Sarah did too, but she moved up here when she was very young.
When I was a baby.
Yeah,
Right.
so you know, you don't really know much else, is it?
I don't know anything else.
And I've only been here for some 43 odd years. Oh, I suppose I did time away. Did a few city stints.
It's a small world. I met Sarah's dad before I met Sarah. Of Malcolm, and I tried talking to him when we were both playing World of Warcraft at the time, and I was like, dude, you got to jump on my server and have a game with me. And he's like, no, I level up mages. And I was like, what do you mean you level up mages? He said, I've got like 20 of them. I level them up to 60, then I get bored and I start again. And I'm like, dude, you're missing out on half the game. That's not fun.
Wow, Sarah's dad played World of Warcraft.
Yeah, he was,
Yeah, my dad is a big player of games.
yeah.
He is a watcher of sports and a player of games.
Yeah, right. Well, I know that when we the last time we visited him, he was doing like a soccer manager game where he was, you know, the what do you call them? Manager of a soccer team.
Yeah. He likes those too, but he's really into fantasy. So he put me onto like lots of the fantasy authors and stuff that I like. When I went to stay with him, and
yeah, right. How interesting!
lent me books and stuff, and he's got sort of an awesome collection of dragons and things that he likes and stuff. So it's kind of interesting because I didn't grow up with my dad. And so then like sort of when I was a bit older and went to visit him, and it was funny that like all of these things that I didn't share with the rest of my family, like music, not all music because he likes Kylie too, but some other music stuff that was like not shared, you know, and, you know, lots of fantasy kind of things and stuff that he was into. It was kind of just interesting to see that we had those sort of similar interests.
Yeah, that's it's funny the things we learn just through simple conversation. I did see Jack and Dan. Hello, Jack and or Dan. Welcome aboard. Gina French, how are you? Who else did I miss? I saw someone else pop in. Aquatic Ness. How are you, Ness? Welcome aboard. And even though I went straight into Scotty B's comment before, I don't think I actually said g'day to Scotty back. I say hello, Scott. And Gina French just loves Sarah's voice. But can we just let's address the elephant in the room. The metaphysical elephant in the room, the spelling of people's names.
It really bothers Mikey when people spell my name wrong.
Oh no, I was talking about mine. No, I wasn't. I was talking about yours.
I've had it my whole life, so like don't really care. But
well, I guess that is on me because my biggest annoyance is because my name is Michael and there is only one way to spell it as far as I'm concerned, and people do mess up that spelling very often.
They sure do.
And it really gives me the shits when I see it spelt wrong. So I like to correct people on name spellings. But Sarah's name is spelt with no H at the end of it. Don't take it personally, Gina French. It's on me. It's on me. It's what I do. I'm critical of spelling, not only with names either.
I also, because it has no H, I get called Sarah all the time. And unless I'm going to know that person, like going to have like a friend, a person who you meet and they, you know you're going to interact with them a lot. I mostly just don't even correct people. They're like, oh, Sarah, Amelia. That's me. What else? Because I couldn't be bothered. But my name, I was named, my dad wanted to call me Sky because he's Scottish, and my mum wouldn't have it. She was like determined that I couldn't be called Sky. So he settled for, he was like, well, call me Sarah. That was his grandmother. And she was wasn't that taken by it, but she was like, if we can take the H off the end, then I'll agree. And that was their compromise, was that I was Sarah without an H, because Mum wanted something a bit different and he wanted something really Scottish. So
did she want Sky with an E on the end of it?
did he? Yeah, he did.
He did, right.
She did not want Sky at all. I think Sky's pretty, but you know. My younger sister is called Sky. He left. My mum and him broke up and he got a new wife and their first daughter was called Sky. I think it's a beautiful name, but my mum didn't like it.
Okay.
Well, you know, they are a thing, I guess. If you're going to connect with someone for their entire life, you're going to want to tag them with a name that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, sure.
Who knows what it would have done if you were called a name that she didn't like.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, Sarah is like a princessy kind of girl who's dressed in lace and pearl necklaces and never gardened in her life, never got dirt under her fingernails and stuff. But Sarah's a doer. She gets in there and does stuff. She knows stuff.
You know, Sarah means princess. That's what it means.
Oh, sorry, Gina. I don't always look at the screen.
Nola and Lol. That would get tricky.
Nola, how are you? Oh, that is indeed tricky. Well, it's funny. My brother is Malcolm, same name as Sarah's dad, and we always, growing up, we both got called each other's names by all the family members and stuff. So people would call me Mal or Malcolm, and they'd call him Michael or Mike or Mick or whatever. And then in the 1980s, there was a duo of brothers with a famous TV show called the Leyland Brothers, and they were Mike and Mal, the Leyland Brothers. So we got stuck with that a lot as well. People would greet us by saying, "Ask the Leyland Brothers," but you guys are probably too young to remember that, aren't you?
I do remember it, yeah.
I don't know it.
I remember Leyland Brothers World.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it still exists, but it's not a theme park anymore. It's just like a servo with some shit at the side of the highway on the way down.
It burnt down.
Ah, that's right. It did too, yeah. It was potentially an insurance scam because I don't think they ever got insurance money to rebuild it.
No, it was they had a replica of Ayers Rock where there's a shop inside of it. And
well, I think that bit, doesn't that bit still exist?
It might, yeah, but I don't remember it. I've travelled past that quite a bit in the last couple of years.
I think I remember stopping there once to get a hot pie or something from the servo and potentially some petroleum fuel for the motor vehicle as well.
Yep.
But yeah, didn't exactly spend much time there.
I never went in.
So another thing that we we touched on briefly last night, Beast and myself, was this battery day. Elon Musk and his battery day. Hello, Lefty. How are you? Anyone else that I've missed recently? Sorry. Oh, Muppet. G'day, Muppet. Now, there still isn't a release date for battery day, is there?
No.
But the internet is blowing up with theories on what Elon Musk wants to release for battery day. Is it going to be the 1,000,000-mile battery? Is it going to be this I can't even remember what it was called. What was it called? Where your car battery can pump back into the power network.
Yeah, you could use your car or your Cybertruck as a portable battery bank, and if there's a blackout or infrastructure damage happens in one area, you can take a vehicle, charge it up in an area where the grid is active, drive it back to the damaged zone, and use it as a mobile power wall. And most people would say, well, why would I use my car as a power wall? But if you've already spent the money and you've got the equivalent of 5 to 7 power walls in your vehicle now becomes a mobile generator, basically.
Are you familiar with any of this technology, Scungy?
No, I don't know what battery day is. I've not.
Well, there's a massive big secret around what Elon Musk wants to release as his new technology revolving around batteries. And it's apparently got the tech world in a bit of a tizzy because everyone wants to know what's going on. And it involves the batteries that he puts in his electric cars, like Josh said, being available to actually put power back into the power grid. And there could be monetary stuff involved as well. And one of the really hello, Crystal. How are you? One of the really interesting things that I found about, this is, it's not concrete yet, is it? This is pure speculation and potential links and leaks and whatnot. Hopefully it's leaks because I like the theory. The thing that took my interest in a big way was the leasing side of it, that Tesla would sell you a potentially.
Yeah.
This is not concrete, but it's a potential thing where Tesla would sell you a motor vehicle, but lease. I don't know if lease is the right term for it, but lease the battery.
Yeah, the battery can be on lease.
Because the potential for taking power from the grid and returning power to the grid, obviously there's money involved there. So if Tesla has control over the ins and outs of your power, then they have the potential to make more money off that. What was it called? Auto bidder was the algorithm that they. I don't even know is auto bidder a confirmed thing from Elon Musk.
Yes,
I guess it must be, yeah, because
it's
they certainly used it by name.
They're already using it in the South Australian battery network.
That's right, yeah. So this algorithm will basically, I think its main premise is that it works on buying power from the grid when power is in excess, because obviously in when what do you call it, fossil fuel power stations make power, they can't store it like renewable fuel, so they basically have to sell what they're producing as they're producing it. And so if Tesla organizes to buy power while it's at its cheapest and then return it to the grid when its price is up a bit, pardon me, the potential is there for them to make a lot of money from that. So it is in their financial interest to do this leasing thing where you don't actually pay for the battery in your car, you just pay for the vehicle itself. But apparently the value of that technology in that vehicle is so high that people could be getting electronic motor vehicles for very, 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 very cheap. And
we're talking knocking 35 grand US dollar off the cost price of your vehicle.
Yeah,
that's huge. That's huge.
Well, I think it's even been speculated that you could almost be paid to take a vehicle because they foresee that they could make a lot of money out of a battery lease just by the auto bidder doing all the work on trading electricity and whatnot. Yep. So I find that, like I said, I find that to be the most interesting thing about it because of the potential outcomes for such a system to get a lot of Teslas out on the road and a power infrastructure in place that certainly benefits all of the humans and also the planet as well. But in saying that, if that sort of thing happens and then fossil fuels are slowly negated, does then that system will have to adjust to, the lack of fossil fuels out there creating electricity. And that could be an interesting thing down the track as well.
Yeah. He's also acquired Maxwell, or was it Maxwell? A battery company that's got some pretty good technologies in its repertoire where they can make batteries a lot cheaper.
Well, that was the was that the battery recycling specialists?
They've got a patented system of creating dry cells that no one else can use, basically. So being able to make batteries in the one facility that's making the vehicles, you got this vertical integration that I like to call zero costing. So when a manufacturer zero costs any part of their production facility, it just brings the price radically down rather than relying on external sources and shipping all the parts and components. You've got it all made in the one spot and stuff just happens like lightning speed, really quick. We're talking like this is going to be the Model T Ford, and they're going to go from a gigafactory to a terafactory.
Terafactory, yeah, I like those terms. They were choice.
Yeah.
So very now.
Yeah. And some people have speculated that the Cybertruck might come out in a new version, especially for Australia, where instead of the Cybertruck being all steel plates and angles, that a lot of those angles would be quite useful to be PV or photovoltaic cells. So
that's solar panels for those listening at home.
Yeah. So solar panels all over your car, drive it in the sun, it's charging. Beauty. Beauty.
That also raises the aspect of all of the advancements in photovoltaic cells and your sheets of slimline plastic that are now being developed. Why not put that kind of stuff on everything to generate power?
Yep.
Oh, we are so in for an interesting 15 to 20 years, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything's gonna race along.
It's
we'll be old man still talking about it. 15 years, it'll fly by.
It will, yeah, that's right. I'd say that there was a bit of chat that turned up about the lithium, and I do agree that mining of lithium is terrible, but do we know what elements Maxwell and Tesla are using in their batteries? Are they steering away from lithium, or does Elon still use lithium in his solar storage batteries? Pardon me.
Yeah, lithium's current tech. So there's talk about using carbon. There's a special thing called aerogel that works like a supercapacitor. So it has the ability to take a charge, unlike a battery that's a chemical reaction. The capacitor takes a charge and usually it rapidly releases it, but aerogel you can slowly release it. The only problem is it's only the highest quality aerogel needs to be produced in zero gravity, otherwise it's cloudy. It looks like solid crystalline smoke. Excuse me, when you make it on Earth. So this aerogel stuff is another potential.
Does that not also potentially swing into Elon's other interests? Maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe
This guy's smart. This guy's
space.
really smart.
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be the thing that's talked about for the next 200 years. Is this guy?
Yeah.
Because potentially with whatever he's doing with SpaceX, maybe one of his primary objectives is to launch a aerogel manufacturing facility in orbit, perhaps in outer space.
Yep. Totally right up his alley. The other thing is carbon nanotube batteries are another thing. People are even talking about hemp batteries and how amazing they are. And
wow, now we're talking.
Yeah. So get smoking. We need a lot of STEM.
Well,
That's where the good fiber's at. Hey, we need to produce a lot of STEM.
one thing I do find as a very interesting juxtaposition with our Elon Musk is that he's got all of this technology with respect to space and electronic vehicles, and then he's got that other hobby of digging holes. He likes to dig a hole, doesn't he?
The Boring Company, yes.
The Boring Company, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, sure, the end product of that is also something incredibly technological, but what a great alternative to space is digging holes in the earth.
Getting deep. Yep. Cutting holes in mountains, speeding up the travel time rather than driving up mountains. I don't know if you've driven up many mountains, but some of those roads are sketchy as fuck. Like they are dangerous as hell. And just cutting holes straight through a mountain, opening up new transport routes, fantastic. That and the Boring Company, they reuse their machines. Whereas in Europe and America, when they've done tunnels before, they just bury their tunneling machine and fill it up with cement and just abandon it because it's cheaper to just cover it with cement than it is to dismantle it and rebuild it somewhere else. And that's just wasteful.
Big time. It's funny. I heard an interesting thing the other day about jackhammers, and that the jackhammer was invented for exactly that reason, that it was going to take way too long to cut a 12-kilometer hole through a mountain with pickaxes.
Right.
So some Elon Musks of the time, some 150 years ago, developed a steam-powered jackhammer to carve a tunnel, pardon me, through a mountain.
Yeah, nice.
And it was apparently quite a vicious technological race, as in a speed contest, to see who could develop the first machine to smash through a mountain. Fish in space. Did they actually do this study, people? Joel G speculating if there's been a space aquarium yet.
They did take a special. I know this was in 2012. They took a octopus up there, a very special color shifting octopus, and it was the space octopus. And I got a bit worried because this thing was never going to get back to Earth, and putting the octopus in space, that's dangerous. Dangerous. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But they've definitely taken aquatic creatures up there. I don't know about fish, but that would be a weird experiment indeed.
Do you know what the premise of the experiment with an octopus in space was?
I think it was just to test to see anti-gravity, or not anti-gravity, but a lack of gravity, how it affected its problem-solving abilities, and also how it affected its psychology, because octopus that have color changing abilities, you can read their moods or their emotions from the colors that they change, and they just wanted to see what happened. And it was a very pretty octopus, and I felt bad for it because it was going to live out its life in 0G, never come back to Earth and tell its friends.
Well, hopefully they sent it up with lots of stimulation to make sure it used its awesome. Oh, well, they don't. Do they have? They don't really have a brain, do they? Or they have got a brain for each arm and one for the body, or something. Interesting.
Non-locality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a circuit board of interestingness.
Anyone see the Titan? I saw a movie, Titan, that was about people genetically engineering themselves to go to Titan, and how they mutated. Is that what you're talking about, Jack and Dan?
Whilst we're waiting for Jack and Dan's response, I'm assuming it's actually Dan. We'll soon find out. I really got to go and wrestle a crocodile. So,
I'm going to go because the 90 minutes is up and I have to go to school meeting.
All right. Okay. Good luck. Thank you.
See you, Sarah.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
So, yeah, Jack and Dan or Dan is confirming that is the one he's talking about.
Yep.
But I really have to go and wrestle this crocodile. So, I'll be back.
No worries. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. That's all right. Yeah, that movie was wild. Like how they changed and what it means to adapt yourself to a new environment, and how non-human you become once you do those changes. It's quite wild. They took rice fish and zebra danios to space. Okay, Dragonlay, cool. Yeah, it was definitely a cool idea, Dan, Jack and Dan. Yeah. I'm all for transhumanism. I'd love to get a CRISPR kit and do some gene edits on myself. One of the first things I'd do is find the shark DNA that gives you multiple rows of teeth, so the outer layer can fall out and you continually regrow teeth, because teeth seem to be a limiting factor on nutrition, and when we age, we lose our teeth, and that becomes a difficult thing to munch through a steak. And the other gene edit that I'd really love is blue skin. I'd love to have blue skin rather than being, pinky, fleshy colored. I think it's just wasted potential to have an attitude that doing gene edits on humans, especially willing subjects, is just banned because of religious reasons and people saying that's playing God. Man, we've been playing God for generations. Have you seen a wild banana with all the seeds in it?
Well, I think that is the best example always.
Yeah. We've been playing God for generations. That's why we've got all this lovely nutrition around us these days, is just because we have played God.
Whoops.
Lefty says, we don't need to go around creating augments. If Star Trek taught me anything, it's that we don't want genetically modified humans that have been enhanced. Well, yeah, gills would be awesome. take lots of colloidal silver, you'll turn blue. Yeah, I think that's the trick, is that you need the gene edit to retain the silver. I actually, my primary source of income is selling silver as a wholesaler. So I handle a lot of it. But my genes don't retain the silver, so I don't turn blue. And drinking shitloads of colloidal silver, not up my alley. You know, I don't want to go that route. You know, because it does kill a lot of good bacteria. And what is it? I think it's like 90% of our biomass, or our diversity of biomass in our human bodies, is bacteria and stuff in our guts, and we need them to survive. So yeah, GM bananas were developed to withstand disease. Yes, indeed. We've got a very special facility in Australia that's got about every species of banana that's found all around the world in different plots. And then they've got this special plot right in the center of it where the native bees and bats and pollinators cross-pollinate everything. And it's just a wild breeding pit for making just new varieties of banana. And because the original banana flavor, like the synthetic banana, was based on a breed that went extinct on the planet. And that's why artificial banana just doesn't taste like bananas, because the banana it was designed to replicate is just gone now. It was quite profitable. It was quite big.
G'day, JH. Welcome. Hello back.
Hello.
Hi, and Corvus. G'day, Corvus. How's it going? I forgot to message you, didn't I? Probably should try that now, just in case. Corvus, this is Beast. Beast Corvus. Welcome.
The Crow. Corvus Corax.
That's a really good thing, actually. What do you make of Corvus Oskin's name? Does it mean anything to you?
I'm looking for it now. Corvus Oskin. Well, I know Corvus Corax is the taxonomical name for the raven. So if I read Corvus, I always think of raven. Yeah, black hair, Corvus.
He has very dark hair. I think Corvus uses motor oil from a motor vehicle as hair gel, though, so it's very difficult to determine his natural hair color.
Keeping it black. Black number one. I listened to the Hyper Negative last night. That was good.
Well, I haven't heard them for a long time. Didn't one of them die? Was it the singer that died?
Yeah, Pete Steele did himself in.
Yeah. Well, based on Corvus's response, potentially you might be batting up against the right tree there with regard to the Corvus part of it. Because he has a few ravens tattooed on his body, amongst all the other tattoos. Corvus also has this awesome bee cell, honey hive thing cell on his arm that I always find myself totally ogling and really enjoying looking at. Pardon me. Whew, that was a beaut. That came from deep. I've had this really great thought while I was out wrestling a crocodile, and now I've forgotten what it was. If
you love something, set it free.
Oh, wasn't that a lyric from a Police song?
Oh, it'll come back to you.
A Sting song? No, I mean that if you love something, set it free. I thought that was made famous in a Police song or a Sting song or something. Jack and Dan.
Pangolin ruined my spring break. Yes, man. Poor pangolins. They are the cutest creatures, but just like the armadillo, they carry leprosy as a defense mechanism, and we should leave them the fuck alone.
And they're getting a bum rap for their involvement, aren't they, in this corona pandemic as well?
Yeah. Shots fired, though. A member of parliament in Victoria has claimed that a Chinese lady has claimed that the US Department of Defense developed corona and the Rona, and took it to China, released it, and traveled around the world and bit them on their own bum. But China and America are going to blame each other for years over this. It's fucking ridiculous.
Oh, they will. But why is it all of a sudden coming out, some lady saying it? I thought they've been saying that for weeks now, that the US did it and brought it into China, or they've found a scapegoat who's willing to get out there in the media and say all this stuff.
Yeah. Someone official, not just some YouTuber.
Right.
Yeah.
An actual human in a position of media power is now putting it out there.
Yeah. Which is like madness. But, we know that both parties and Australians too, we like to have a bit of a play. We like to play God a bit and mix up our viruses and cook up new and exciting ways to understand death and things that are deadly. Because Australia's quite deadly. I don't know if people know this in America, but the Indigenous population of Australia loves to use deadly as a word to say something is really cool or something is really rad. Fucking deadly, eh?
Deadly, bruh.
Deadly, bruh. And mixing viruses up, you can't get more deadly than that. That's shocking.
I mean, I thought it was fantastic a few years ago when I was working on trying to genetically modify a snake spider, but now they're working on this microscopic level. My snake spider pales in comparison. No weight whatsoever.
One of my mates was stoned one day, and he said, "Man, just imagine if spiders could fly." And he's afraid of spiders, and I was like, "But mate, you should see spiders. They fly pretty well when you throw them." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I showed him my spider catcher stick. It's like you pull a trigger, and I'm back to front. So you pull the trigger, and the thing opens up, and then you let go of the trigger, and it collapses. And you can grab a huntsman and take it outside and just let it go. But I got really good at where I could swing my arm and release it at the apex and throw the huntsman. And these guys just glide. They're like skydivers in a squirrel suit. The huntsman,
I think they're physically designed for that sort of thing, with all of the hairs and tendrils or whatever you want to call them all over their body. They're going to certainly be able to waft around on that.
Yeah, they land.
As shown by baby spiders that cast a little bit of web out and drift on the wind. I think it's not only the wind that helps carry them, it is all the hairy structures across their body that assist with that ability to waft, shall we say. Waft.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. I actually said the word waft in one of my streams.
Yeah, we got... I think the technology that the hairs on their bodies is actually external ears. They can detect sound through the hair follicles that they've got all over their body. And apparently the huntsmen's are invading England and America from Australian tourists.
Nice.
They're going to
go Australian tourists. Finally, we're doing some good.
Yeah, sucked in, guys. You're going to have to deal with huntsmen in a few years, like we're having to deal with Asian house geckos. You know, we've had them invading us for quite a while from the shipping
Yeah.
yards
Fair's
in
fair.
Brisbane. Fair's fair, yeah. You're going to cop some huntsmans, some mega huntsmans. And my mate Kai went over to London about 2 years ago, and he unpacked or went to get some clothes out of his luggage and out raced the huntsman. And he's like, shit, I got to kill it. You know, he did his best and he got it. But he said that the anecdotal, when he told some locals about it, the anecdotal evidence is in. They've already made landfall and are breeding in London. So yeah, look out, America. You haven't seen a spider till you've seen a huntsman running around your house. That's good
But,
fun.
you know, they're harmless. They look scary, but they're not going to hurt you. They might,
No.
you know, give you a little bite, but they're not going to make you sick or anything. It's just going to be a couple of little puncture wounds.
Yeah. With a bit of liquid courage up me, I've handled them before and
really?
picked them up. Yeah, yeah.
I pick up all the spiders. I've had a pet spider in my bathroom for almost 2 years now, but it's a black house spider. That's why I've kept it, because it's a black house spider. Yep. They are indeed venomous, and she has babies at the moment.
Beautiful.
And she's been successfully alive, and this is about her 5th or 6th bunch of babies, and living quite successfully in my bathroom. And I've got this curtain in the bathroom window where she lives. Oh, look, there's Em. Hi, Em. She's cleaning windows. What? The curtain that this spider lives behind is really old and ratty, but I've left it. But the other side of the curtain I've ripped down because it's falling apart and stuff. But because that's her home and she's lived there successfully, she stays.
Yeah. Then we've had a black house spider in our bathroom, but she lived out her time, and none of her offspring took up her spot, but it was in the gap between the window frame and the wall, and she made sure no insects got in that gap, got through that gap. You know, she was the gatekeeper of the gap.
That's such an awesome little, like you say, a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And they're the epitome of an evil-looking spider, but in such a small package. They just one of my favorite spiders.
Yeah.
And I've got lots of favorite spiders.
What? Have you seen the electric blue tarantula?
I sure have.
Oh man, what a gorgeous critter that is. Jeez.
And I think with selective breeding of those guys as well, I think there's someone may confirm nor deny this for me, but I think there's different colorings out there in the market of those guys as well.
Are you saying that could be a purple metallic spider?
I think that is definitely one of the color shades I've seen is more towards purple than blue. But like, I'm dealing with really sketchy memory here, so it could have been a photoshopped or video shopped, whatever they call that. Pardon me. So who can tell? Time will tell. That's who will tell. Monica Lynn asking, what do shrimp eggs look like? If you're looking at a gooey little pouch of eggs stuck to glass, you're looking at snail eggs. If you're looking at a bunch of little eggy-looking things in your shrimp's belly or hanging off the bottom of your shrimp's belly, then that's shrimp eggs. Shrimp eggs stay attached to the mother until they become baby shrimplets and get released.
And she keeps them aerated, doesn't she?
She sure does, with her swimmerettes.
Yeah, swimmerettes.
For those playing at home, that's swimmerettes.
Spell it.
SWIMMERETS. No, it's going to be an ETTES probably. The diminutive suffix of et, whatever that means. I think I just said sounds. I just made mouth sounds that didn't necessarily make sense. So yeah, Monica, if that makes your stuff easier, what do you got? You got them on the glass, or you got them in a shrimp belly? Because it has been fairly common knowledge for some time now that snails definitely do not lay their eggs on shrimp's bellies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Shrimps
can.
wouldn't have enough of that.
I think I can say that. You know, surely enough. That's not the word that I was after, but I think I used up all of my big words the last sentence or two. I ran out of big words. I actually thought it was M doing the windows, but you've got a dude doing windows and doors.
I do. I've got a professional window cleaner that we employ.
Crikey. I could probably
Yeah.
use him too. I think Ro wants his assistance as well.
West Rowat, I don't think it'd be worth the travel
Airfares.
costs. Yeah, the airfares. Yeah, the local pro guy here, Dougie, he does a great job, and all props to Dougie. We've got a lot of glass in this house, so he keeps it clean. Get him over once a year at least. Does the whole house in record time. It's worth it.
Oh, it's a prick of a job, isn't it? So it's one of those things where you're so much better getting a dude to do it, or a person to do it. Sorry. I'm so woke today. A person. Get a person who cleans windows to do it for you, because generally I find after a day of cleaning windows, you seem to devolve into a form of human being that no one wants to have anything to do with. So Dougie's obviously got that side of it down. He maintains his human form after a day of cleaning windows.
Yeah, he does it well. He knows what he's doing. He's really quick. I come from a family of employing people to do specific tasks. My mum's podiatry, which is a foot specialist. We had a guy turn up every 2 weeks to do the windows inside and out for the shop, and I learned from watching him how to quickly do a windscreen with the squeegee and stuff. And I'll clean my own car window, but I won't do the house windows because, you know, all the drips and the drabs, and there's so much dirt that comes off the outside of the windows. It's you know, pretty grody. So yeah, it's a big job, and I'm not the most nimble of creatures. I'm a big beast, and yeah, it'd root me. I couldn't do it. And for non-Australians, root is the equivalent of getting fucked. So yeah.
Well, there was
fucked.
Who was it earlier? Streetwise. I don't know if Streetwise is still hanging out, but he was one of the first people in the chat saying how he was excited for the stream. He or she, sorry, not being woke there. Saying that it was an opportunity. My streams are always an opportunity for Streetwise to come and learn some slang. So there we go. There's your word for the day, people. Root.
Root.
Get rooted. It's versatile as well, isn't it? It's like that other 4-letter word that means the same thing that we pronounce fuck. It can be used so versatilely in so many forms. One of the joys, one of the simple pleasures of the Australian language is the word root. Tokes Outdoors. G'day, mate. All right. In and out. A quick in and out for Tokes. I hope it was as good for you as it was for me, Tokes.
Enjoy your tokage.
Righto, Monica Lynn has confirmed that they were indeed snail's eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. Snail eggs are a constant thing. Once you put snails in a tank, they'll lay eggs, and you just almost never eradicate snails. They're always going to come up. I think the only combative creature to snails is the what is it, Blacky, a Cory, the bottom dwelling
Corydoris.
Yeah.
Corydoris not so good against snails, but loaches are.
Loaches, okay.
My best because when I set up a few different tanks at the same sort of time, and I had this massive snail outbreak, and my best snail destroying tool, pardon me, was my Australian freshwater long arm prawns. Some call them long arm shrimp, but the prawns that I used to keep, they went through all of my snails and completely eradicated my snail problem in no time flat. Anytime I have snail outbreaks, now that I don't have prawns anymore, that's my go-to. I'll go to the creek and I'll find myself some freshwater prawn, and they just eradicate them in no time at all. Best snail destroyer everywhere, anytime.
Is there a breeding program for these guys? Will the US people be able to get access to the long arm shrimp, or?
I don't think there is, but I think there is a similar species in the States of freshwater prawn. Some of the Americans might have to confirm that for me, because they are, I think they're one of those, convergent evolution kind of species that there's examples of them right around the planet. G'day, Gaffer Haynes. How are you, mate? Gaffer Haynes, another Australian fella.
G'day, Gaffer. How's it going?
But yeah, we're blessed in this area. I mean, you could probably go down to your little creek in your backyard and pop a bait trap or something down and catch a whole bunch of shrimp and potentially some freshwater prawns as well.
I used to have fun when the pond wasn't overgrown with vegetative matter, and it's turned into a swamp now. I'm a bit like Shrek. I got my own swamp. But when it wasn't so full of plants, every flood that happened, a lot of shrimp and small fish, rainbows, and gambusia, the introduced mosquito fish, would flock to the pond, which is now a swamp, because it was slow moving water compared to when the flood waters came in, where it was fast flowing. And when the waters receded, my pond would just be filled with life. Even yabbies, lovely yabbies, Cherex destructor. Got a few of them out of there. Beautiful. And I used to just enjoy netting prawns and shrimp. It was good fun. I had one living in my bowl for a good 4 years. I thought it died, and then I saw it one night scooting around the edges. I was like, wow, you're a survivor.
They sure are. I am. My big mistake with when I first really started venturing into the long arm prawns was not necessarily accepting how much of an apex predator they can be. And I first put 3 nice big ones. Well, they weren't so big when I first put them in here, but when I put them in this tank behind me, it was heavily planted, lots of guppies and bristlenose breeding in it. And then all of a sudden I had cherry shrimp in there too, lots of cherry shrimp. And the populations started diminishing rather rapidly. And then I witnessed the murderous capacity of the freshwater prawns and how brutal a predator they are. And after that, I started, really taking advantage of that and feeding my prawns grasshoppers and all sorts of stuff, because they are just the best. I want a tank devoted to the long arm freshwater prawns. There you go. I've said it.
They're quite awesome to watch. It's like a sci-fi film with their long arms reaching out and grabbing shit. You can imagine them grabbing fish, all kinds of shit.
And that you get them to a stage too, because what I would do is I would get like a grasshopper or something on my aquascaping tweezers and put my hand in the tank and basically put a grasshopper right in front of them. But they, after doing that a few times, they get very curious and they take an interest in what this larger, much meatier looking object is. And they have no fear after a little while, and they want that hand. They want to nibble on fingers. I've definitely let my prawns grab me with their pincers, and little bit of pinch, not too bad. But as soon as they start bringing the rest of their body up to get those mouth parts towards my skin and flesh, I don't want that. That's where it's going to start to hurt, I think.
I have Rose saying she has 2 Cherex Pulcher trying to breed them. Any advice? I've got no experience in breeding them. I've just rescued a few from the pool, but I've only ever got them to live for a couple of weeks at most in a tank. They're voracious predators. They need to dig into things to be happy. They need dirt and mud, and a muddy tank isn't necessarily the prettiest tank. So yeah, sorry. I've got the best thing is an outdoor pond.
I was going to suggest exactly that. Something that you're not going to care about how clear the water is and stuff. A big concrete pit with lots of dirt and rocks and stuff in the bottom. Let them rearrange it as they want.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. If you give them feeder fish, I don't know if your local fish shop ever breeds up copious feeder fish. They love to have live food to grab hold of. I'm sure you're already familiar with feeding them if you've had them for 4 years. But yeah, they're pretty amazing critters. Our ones in Australia are generally blue, and they're like fucking delicious. Where we live is like prime territory for breeding them. In Grafton, I think they've got a few big facilities that breed up food grade yabbies or Cherex destructor, and they're called Cherex destructor because they dig holes in dams. They will break your dam and ruin it. Once they get in there, they're going to dig holes.
That's essentially something that I'd really like to do, is have a big shed in the back paddock full of concrete tanks breeding crayfish for the food industry.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like you said, they are so tasty.
Oh, man. Bit of butter, bit of garlic. Yum. Don't overcook them. Delicious. So delicious. Even if you're just breeding them for yourself, for your own use, and offload a bit to the local restaurants, if you get your food license, bang on. There's some good money there. It's good. Make some cheddar and feeding your family regularly. Awesome.
I think that's one of the best things about them, is that they are such an entertaining creature to have in a tank, to watch and enjoy their behaviors, and also such a tasty thing as well. You don't often get that. You don't get that much in the world. I'm trying to think of another example. I mean, like potentially a really well house-trained Brussels sprout might be as enjoyable and as tasty. But yeah, not many other examples come to mind. That's also interesting, Ro. That I've seen a lot of videos doing these crayfish boils, and there's all these companies that make these flavorings and sauces that you pour into the boil. But I don't understand that when all the meat's hidden inside shells, how much of those flavorings actually osmose into the flesh? Or are you just, are you waiting to potentially just maybe smell those flavors as you're busting, pardon me, the meat out of the crayfish? That is the one thing that's always confused me about those boils. Because I'm more of the mind that you just boil up your crayfish in some salty water, and then it's once you bust them out of their shells, that's when you add the flavors and whatnot. Whether you chuck them through a stir fry or whether you just dip them in some, Thousand Island sauce or some garlic butter or whatnot. All right, Ro is saying that a lot of flavour does get into the meat. Well, that does surprise me.
I'd believe it. Yeah.
Well, I suppose if a leech can get through the carapace of a crayfish, then I suppose flavours can get in as well. That was an interesting segue, wasn't it? Leeches and crayfish. That was like almost 2 weeks ago now. I watched videos about people trying to get leeches to attach to crayfish.
Okay.
Sometimes you get bored when you're watching YouTube. You need to find stuff that you wouldn't normally see.
Did the leech find the joins?
Yeah, they get in. They find a gap, slide their way in.
Oh, nasty.
Gaffer Haynes, I think you underestimate the humble sheep. Entertaining, useful, and delicious.
Oh yeah.
Well, I can't. What's the entertainment value of a sheep? They're not like goats. They don't bounce on trampolines and make silly noises. They just sit there and look at you funny until you take their wool off and eat their flesh.
The rams can headbutt pretty big time, man.
Yeah, but that's only fun if they're headbutting each other, not if they're chasing you across a paddock to get you.
Or if they're chasing a friend, you can laugh at that. That's the entertainment.
Right.
Yeah.
I am converted.
Yeah.
Because I too also definitely enjoy the eating of a sheep. Very nice meat to eat.
Lamb chops on the barbie, mate. That's fucking delicious.
Now you're talking my language. But I do like goat as well, and I've always found goat to be more entertaining physically and visually than sheep. That might be the eye.
Not here, but when I was younger, down in Berry on the south coast, we had a pet goat pretty much permanently because we had a big quarter-acre block, and the back section was all grass, and we'd keep a goat to chained up to keep the grass down. And me and my mates would give him a wrestle sometimes, grab him by the horns, and have a tussle. And it's always good fun. Always good fun.
Indeed. I do find goats are much, an entertainment factor as well as they provide meat, they provide milk, wool if they're an Angora goat or something like that.
Yeah, that's what we kept, Angoras. Yeah, give him a brush every couple of months and save up a big bag and make some money off the fur.
I can't believe Ro got to that before me, because I read Gaffer Haynes's comment that it's obvious I haven't reared a sheep, and I didn't even click the double entendre there, whether it was intended or not. Gaffer, I mean, we can't all be from New Zealand or Scotland. But I see what you mean, Ray, and kudos to you for jumping on that comedy just like that. And a shame to me for completely missing an opportunity for some potty humour like that.
Oh, if we're going to go there, I might as well tell the story of a mate of mine, Parish, and how stoned one afternoon we're hanging out in my backyard, and we have had some irises in the garden that make bulbs. And so we grabbed an iris bulb that, looks like a garlic. It's bulbous on one end and pointy on the other. And he just threw it at the goat's rear end. And the poor goat copped the iris bulb in the butt, and it stayed there for a good 3 seconds before it fell out. and we just... yeah, we were in tears laughing so hard. It's fucking hilarious.
I'm sure. I was just about to say, I'm sure what you mean by fucking hilarious is poor goat, but you did say it yourself. So,
yeah,
saved. Lucky we're not that woke here. Oh, Gaffer Haynes is Welsh. That explains everything, Gaffer. And potentially my favourite dog on the planet is the Welsh Corgi.
Oh, aren't they cute?
I want one. Or even, isn't there another one? The something that starts with no, not Shetland Corgi. There's another Corgi anyway that I really like. Anyway, apparently today I have the bladder the size of a pea.
And my drinks just run out. I gotta get another drink.
All right, you go first. I'll wait.
All right, back in a sec.
I'll try not to piss myself. Look, I read it, Gaffer, and I wasn't 100% certain that you meant it that way, so I didn't want to go there. But I was so glad when Ro went there, and you know, when we might pretend to be woke here. I'm going to keep using the word woke to make fun of it, but as you can tell by our conversation so far, we're going to pretend to be woke, but we're also going to dance around the woke like it's a campfire. We're going to throw stuff into the woke fire. We're going to piddle on the woke fire. Oh, people probably don't know what piddle means, do they? Anyway, we're going to be woke, but we're also going to take the piss out of woke. And sorry if that offends any woke. Oh, look, 10 people just left the stream because I said woke too many times. Woker, I like that. Joel G is potentially that could be the new best insult for someone ever.
Instead of wanker, you're a woker.
Yeah, oh, you're such a woker. Oh. How can I even talk to you? You're such a woker.
Too woke for me, mate.
We need to practice, Joel G, at how to work it into effective sentences. Currently, I'm failing at that, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. I have to go and wrestle that crocodile again. And you know what they say? If you're going to wrestle a crocodile, don't do it in a swamp.
The death roll. You don't wring it dry. Sounds like wanker. Yo, yeah. Will make you remember everything it says. Tongue in cheek. Yep. So, guys, what do you think about pets and eating pets? I mean, it's been a part of humans' nature for years for a very long time to raise animals and eat them. But I think the old yabby would be one of the most endearing ones, because you'd want to breed up some big ones to be your mainstay breeders and to create offspring, and you'd fall in love with them, like as they do with bulls. You have your favorite bull and you want him to breed, and you take the baby bulls that aren't so good and you eat them. But has anyone ever in the stream, in the chat, raised something and eaten it before? Because that's a challenging topic. I have swordtails. I'd definitely never eat a swordtail, but I've heard that in Japan They have these special fishing rods for things called smelt, and they do winter ice fishing and catch these little tiny smelt fish
On a rod.
On a rod, yeah. And they just fucking fish them out for all day long. Catch the smelt and cook them up in a special way, and you eat them like white bait, like the whole thing. Fry them up and a bit of flour and munch them down, and apparently they're really good.
You know, I can pretty much 99.99% guarantee that you've got Australian smelt in the creek behind you.
Oh, that creek's pretty fucking dead, man. There's not much in there.
I've caught heaps of smelt just down the road from you, but I've never used a rod and reel to catch them. Always just a bait trap.
Yeah, right. Good on you, bro. Rose raised cattle and eating them. Nice. Some good beef, I'm sure.
That's the best way to do it. Oh, hang on. What's a PSA level? Jack and Dan saying I need to get a PSA level.
A public service announcement? Is that what PSA is? Well,
that's what I know PSA as. Fingers crossed Jack and Dan is still present enough to explain. GRB also asks if you play any musical instruments. Did I miss the answer to that while I was away or something?
Do I? No, I don't. I used to be in a heavy metal band, and I used to growl and scream, but apart from that, yeah, my instrument is my voice.
And Streetwise has turned back up. Did you get your dose of slang, Streety, when we talked about the word root just before? Were you present enough to learn that one? Oh, yeah. Well, there's a reason why I pay a lot. Garbage in, garbage out. Oh, what's a PSA then in relation to prostate?
Prostate exam? Ooh.
Yeah, that exam starts with E though. It doesn't work with the acronym.
No.
And what's prostate got to do with your weeing? We're learning so much here today, people.
Oh man, maybe you need a camera shoved up your urethra.
Oh, I do that for fun. that sounds like Friday night for me.
Oh, geez.
Sounds delightful. Hi guys.
Hey, Em. How are you?
How are you?
Very good. How's your windows looking?
Oh, fantastic. He's excellent. This guy, Doug, who does the windows. If anyone needs windows done in the area, amazing.
Nice. And I wouldn't never necessarily have picked you as a handspan kind of person, but the way you handle that vase with one hand is absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like you could almost fill it with champagne and chug it.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
When it's full of different story.
Right.
Empty, it's a little bit better, yeah?
I suppose, yeah, the weight would be considerably different, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And you're looking fresh today, Michael?
Well, thank you. I'm surprised because I was up very late. Not quite as late as Beast was last night, but
Beast was up late.
I made the mistake. I made the mistake yesterday of starting to watch the old TV show Gotham, and for some strange reason, it was like 6 episodes later, and 2:30 a.m. or something before I thought, I got stuff to do in the morning. I should go to bed.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with series, isn't it? They're so binge-worthy. And, I love a good series. But, yeah, we've been devouring a few over this last few months, We can do one season in a night.
What's your pick? What's your favourite you've done?
Oh, we did Space Force this week. That was hilarious.
I did that too. Yeah. Sorry, keep going, Em. My bad.
No, you can talk about Space Force. So I won't interrupt.
just going to jump to the next one, which was Westworld. We watched the whole of Westworld.
What's Westworld on at the moment? What's it stream on?
Foxtel.
Ah, yeah, right. Bummer. Because I watched the first season of that and I loved it. And then I don't do any illegal show downloading anymore. So I haven't seen any more of Westworld after the first season, but I absolutely loved it. And also
hit up Brunswick Heads.
Yeah, video store at Brunswick. They'll have it.
Okay, righto. Nice.
Yeah,
good to know. And I really want to go back and watch the movie from was it 70s with Yul Brynner?
With Yul Brynner, yeah, he was fantastic. And I love Yul Brynner fan, but I think most women are Yul Brynner fans.
Well, not just the women. I like a bit of Yul Brynner myself.
That's true. I mean, he was so good in The King and I used to love watching that as a kid.
And what was his other really good one? Was he Magnificent Seven, where they defended that little Mexican village, or is that a different movie?
Oh God, I can't remember who was in that. I mean,
he was so good. Anyway,
I mean, John Wayne was in that, wasn't he? Was John Wayne in Magnificent Seven and Clint Eastwood and Beauty and the Beast? That's right. That's right.
Podcast coming soon.
Actually, unshowered, unmade up, and in my pajamas. So
thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you. That's very sweet. So I'm going to go in and continue cleaning and helping because I always find it very motivating when I have someone come and do things in the house. It makes me clean. So I'm going to go and be domestic.
See you, Beauty.
Have fun, guys. Bye.
Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So what a shame that we seem to have given you an out, Beast. You get to sit here and chat away to us instead of getting motivated to clean and stuff as well.
I wasn't going to clean today. I'm a binge drinker. I hit that bottle of bourbon pretty hard last night. I'd probably still be asleep if it wasn't to get up and get on the streaming. It's good fun.
Foxtel have a new streaming service called Binge. Ooh.
Cool.
That might be the place where I'll have to watch Westworld. It might even end up being cheaper to do a streaming service than going to a video store and renting a couple of DVDs, isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, the Brunswick guys will part out a series into like 3 volumes rather than hire off the whole thing. So
yeah, right.
But it's worth supporting, man. We don't want them to disappear because this whole net neutrality hasn't worked really well with the streaming services. And there's there's Disney Plus, there's Amazon Prime, bloody Foxtel in Australia, and all the others. Netflix, of course. By the time you subscribe to everything to get access to everything, you're spending so much money. It's fucking bullshit. So
yeah, by the time you get all of them, you're probably looking at what you used to spend on a Foxtel subscription anyway.
That's right. Yeah, and since Netflix, they've dropped the price of Foxtel quite a bit.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they're keeping competitive, and the new box is pretty amazing. It's like a TiVo on steroids.
Yeah, right.
Record the whole series. They've got a thing where if an ad pops up for a new series, you can just click a button and it'll record the whole series for you. So pretty smart, I've said to them, if you're going to show a bloody ad, you may as well make it a smart ad and have a button to press to order the pizza. If they're going to show Domino's on TV, let them press a button and order a fucking pizza.
Well, I think with the way that your streaming services work like that, it won't be long before we see that in all forms of advertising, that you can just click on a suggested thing, because humans essentially are lazy creatures and we like simplicity and ease. So, if ordering a pizza just came down to clicking a button in an ad, a lot of people are going to take that option as long as they, not terribly woke and don't care what comes on the pizza.
And I'm also a big fan of targeted advertising. Like a lot of people think it's freaky or scary that they could be talking about a certain product, their phone's listening, next minute they're getting ads for it. I think that's fucking great, you know. Take it full tilt to the next level. Stop showing me Domino's ads when Domino's is fucking closed.
And it's nowhere near us. They don't deliver to Mullumbimby.
Exactly. Don't fucking give me Domino's ads. I can't get Domino's. You're a bastard. You're just teasing me.
All Domino's ads do is make us go to the supermarket and get some substandard frozen pizza and cook it in our oven and, you know, eat the whole thing and still be dissatisfied with the end product.
Yeah. The non-frozen pizzas though at Old Woolies are pretty damn good, actually. I'm converted. I got one yesterday and I was like, wow, okay, so much better.
Might have to try that. Are they?
Yeah, cheaper too.
Cheaper than a frozen pizza, but fresh.
Fresher, yeah, because if it doesn't get used or bought within a certain amount of time, it's going to get thrown out.
What a world we live in.
Let's check the chat.
I do tend to agree with you though that targeted advertising is definitely preferable to non-targeted advertising, and I don't want to, like, it's a little bit of a trope, but if you're you know, if you're frightened about your device listening to you and all that kind of stuff, then, you know, you're about 7 or 8 years behind the times, because they've been listening for a long time now and they're just refining it. So as long as you don't say any of those dark, nasty thoughts that happen back here somewhere in your brain, you know, you're going to be okay. There's nothing too full on about it.
Yeah. Profiling is the thing.
And basically the more we
profiling is a good thing. You know, it can be creepy as fuck, but once you get over it, that you've got a AI with a data file on you as a user, and it's monitoring your every move, and it knows what you like. It's like a friend. You know, we need the profiling, and as Rose said, she's got Arby's ads on the TV, and there's no Arby's near her. I think that's ridiculous. Like, we've got to stop this dumb advertising.
But is potentially Rose Arby's ads might be, pardon me, coming because she might talk about certain products and whatnot that Arby's offer, but no one local to her offers those products. So the algorithm goes for the next closest thing or something like that.
I think she might be talking about general broadcast, like on TV, where it's, you know, statewide ads.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm not necessarily a fan of is, let's say, places like Wish, the online shopping thing, or eBay as such. If you buy a particular thing from those companies, then you keep getting those type of things advertised at you. It's like, I already bought it, you know, go a little bit off tangent and offer me something similar, but maybe that I might need to go along with that because I've already got that. Don't show me 17 other things the same as it.
Yeah.
So potentially, again, that's just that. I think that comes down to the evolution of the algorithms and stuff like that, that certain products, once you've got it, you won't need it again. And the algorithm needs to identify that, I suppose.
I got this USB charger thing to keep my phone running when the battery's low. but that's got a single 18650 lithium ion battery inside of it, and I've had it for a good 5 years now, and it's starting to end its cycle. But there's no way of opening it and pulling the battery out and replacing the battery. So that's going to end up in the junk heap pretty soon. So I got on eBay last night and I've searched for a USB battery case, 18650 USB battery case. And there's things like this now that you can slide open and change the batteries.
Yeah,
inside.
right. Well, also there's
Brilliant.
potential to refer back to our earlier conversation about the company Maxwell, that then they should be having a service with all these old dead batteries. If they're talking about recycling the contents of batteries and whatnot, then you should be able to send that to them and let them reuse that product instead of something so nasty going into landfill and whatnot.
Absolutely.
and
In Australia, if you're an Australian viewer, we have Battery World. If you've got any old lithium batteries or anything with a lithium battery pack in it, they will take it and they will recycle it for you. They have the supply chain set up. So worth your while saving all your dead devices and giving it back to the people that can do something with it rather than just chucking it at the dump.
Going into landfill where it serves no purpose when it's still got a potential shelf life of another 100 years or so if it gets reused appropriately.
Yeah. And that was another exciting thing about the Tesla Battery Day video we watched, is that they were talking about these big ass series 18650s. Probably, I think there was like 80 or 100 of them. Maybe 30% of them will start to degrade and be really shit. So the whole big battery bank is considered shit. But they'll search through the whole thing and recycle and take out the still useful ones, recycle the crap ones, and keep the ones that are still pretty decent and reuse them for something else. That's fucking brilliant, We need more of that.
Also, when they went on about the that people don't necessarily know how to cycle their batteries in their current devices properly, and we need to learn how to use our batteries better to get maximum life out of them and stuff.
Well, the old NiCads, the nickel cadmiums, really like to be fully discharged before charging up again.
Yeah,
that's what extended their battery life. So a lot of people just managed to catch up with the cycling technology of how to maintain their NiCads. Next minute we move to lithium, and lithium is the complete opposite. You never want to fully discharge a lithium, and you never want to fully charge up a lithium either. That last percent from 99% to 100% fucking hammers the battery.
Yeah, it's detrimental to its life.
Yeah, so don't leave your phones on charge overnight, guys. Make sure you're awake and pull them off. Like, if they're at 97%, don't give a fuck. Fucking take it off charge.
That is why I think most devices nowadays, when you get to 100%, a little message will pop up and say your battery's 100% now. Disconnect your charger, because if you leave it on charge, you're doing it a disservice by constantly trying to pump electricity into that battery cell.
They've got smart cutoffs, but it still damages the circuitry and the battery inside. So
indeed,
because the thing will stop charging, the phone might drop down to 99%. Next minute, it's charging up that last percentile again. That's just bad for the battery. And if you're an iPhone user like I am, get your batteries replaced every 2 to 3 years. You'd be amazed how many years you can get out of a phone if you get the battery replaced. You don't need a new phone. You just need a new battery. Simple.
I do think as well what you said about the NiCad batteries, where people learnt how to use rechargeable batteries with NiCad batteries, sort of set us back because everyone got into the habit of, like you say, completely using your battery up and then recharging it. And now it's the worst thing for your battery. But unfortunately, humans are creatures of habits.
Yeah.
And creatures of relying on the first thing that we learnt on a subject. So, we learnt to make our battery as flat as we can before charging it up. And unfortunately, that just doesn't work nowadays. It's no good.
It's no good. No. It's almost like we need to have a re-education camp for adults to learn
Indeed.
what post 2020, not just technology, but sociology, woke as fuck culture, you know?
If only all the humans out there were battery woke.
Yeah.
We need a generation of battery woke people ruling the planet, and then we'll be all right. Pardon me. What else? Is there any I know there's like, what is there? There's probably only 3 or 4 of us chatting in chat. I think the other 17 people have fallen asleep. Any other topics we can dance around and maybe exhibit our wokeness about, because we are so woke. Or alternatively as well, suggestions for future topics you'd like us to discuss, because that's what we'd like to do. We'd like to get onto a platform where we can investigate a topic, discuss it, put our 2, 3, maybe 4 cents in, and open the world up to some interrogation, clarification. Oh, there's a shirt. It'd be
to interrogation.
Open to interrogation. That is a shirt, my friend. Beast is just down the road from me, Anthony. I could walk out to my driveway and yell at the top of my voice, and he might hear me if the wind's blowing the right way.
That's
Thanks
right.
to that.
About
The wind, yeah.
Sometimes I can hear the footy club from here.
Oh, I can, yeah. I can.
Yeah, the shit out of me one night. All these people yelling, and the wind was going the right way, and I'm like, damn. And that's like a good 4 kilometers away at least from my place.
I like the ocean, when the ocean's like smashing big waves and you can hear it here. That's really nice.
It bounces off Chincogan.
Yeah.
Chincogan, the mountain acts like a big sonic reflector.
And when you're 8 to 10 k's from the ocean and you can hear waves crashing on the beast, do they crash on you? They might if you're at the beach.
No, we don't get any waves here.
But if you hear them crashing on the beach from so far away, it's an interesting noise.
Yeah. Definitely strange. All about the wind.
Oh, like when those festivals are on way out at Yelgan, and you can, go and sit in the backyard and bop along because it sounds like you're just in the back row.
Anthony's asking about how much would I say vaping costs versus cigarettes. Well, to get a really decent device like this guy is called a Dovpo topside, and that's a Watofo profile, so it uses a mesh. So this is called a squonker. I squeeze the bottle here and it goes up through an aperture and wets the cotton under the mesh. And I spend maybe, let's say, about $2 a fortnight to a month to change the coil or the mesh and the cotton. And the liquids is probably the biggest cost in Australia. 100 ml bottle that has no nicotine cost me about $40, and that'll last me a good month. And then I've got to buy nicotine separately from New Zealand or America. I could get it from there, but the shipping's bullshit from America. So you get a 250 ml bottle of nicotine, 100 milligram solution per mil, and I add for 100 mils, I add 6 mils of nicotine, 100 milligram solution, and that 250 mils of 100 milligram nicotine costs about $50, and that'll last me a year. So it's all about the flavored liquids. If you really want to go cheap, you can make your own liquids from concentrate with propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. You can go really cheap if you want to go really cheap. But I'm a big fan of American liquids. I like my pre-mixed flavors. Today I've got some pineapple sour from
Pineapple
Malaysia.
sour.
Oh, it's delicious. It's really got the acid content, you know, to get the sourness. Fucking delicious. And once you get your taste back from quitting cigarettes, wow, your smell comes back, and all these fucking things that used to never bother you, like the smell of bins in the summer, you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to walk down that street. That stinks. You know, whereas when I was a smoker, I'd be just like, oh, fucking charge a few pouches of rollies a week. And to be honest, short, simple answer, cigarettes cost fuckloads more than vaping.
It is. It's terribly expensive. However, I do disagree with you. I mean, it could be a genetic thing, but on the sense of smell based on cigarettes, there's a thing in my blood where one of my sisters and I both have it, where our sense of smell switches on and off, and it's nothing to do with cigarettes. We can have absolutely no sense of smell, and then all of a sudden it switches back on, and I can smell someone's perfume from 100 meters away, and it's really intense. So I certainly don't have that aspect with cigarette smoking where it affects my taste or my smell. But in saying that, I suppose, is that it's been a while since I gave up last. So maybe if I gave up again, I might taste things differently and my brain might explode. Maybe I'm just conditioned to this intense sense of smell and taste, and maybe it'll be super intense if I switch it back on. Anyway, I've got another human backstage. I'm going to bring him up, and you can do the hellos and whatnot while I go and wrestle that darn crocodile again.
GRB Aquatics never vape. Does it give a sensation of smoking when you've got nicotine in it? Absolutely. Some people really like a hot vape, and they'll turn theirs way up, so it's a higher wattage. They use a temperature control thing, and some people really love a hot vape. Other people are like, fuck no, I like a cool vape. I like a cool vape. It's so much better, and I don't want hot spitting shit in my mouth. It is just another mechanism to take nicotine, but the other thing is that you can use a vape for far more regularly than you can have a cigarette, because a cigarette will make you feel sick. If you smoke too much, you feel ill. Whereas with vaping, unless you're vaping nicotine salts, and that's another whole topic, there's free-base nicotine and nicotine salts. So if you're vaping nicotine salts, you will feel ill if you've had too much. Whereas with the free-base shit, I think that the medical half-life of nicotine is with the free-base is about 20 to 30 minutes. And once the nicotine has metabolized, you basically want another one. You want to go back to it. And some people just don't know when to stop with vaping. You know, they get even more hooked on nicotine and don't know when to quit. And some people, as someone else in the chat said, they quit vaping, so they started smoking again. Yeah, Ro says, I've quit smoking, using a vape. A lot of people will vape, to quit. And I've got a bunch of friends that I've helped get on the vapes just to transfer. And once they start vaping, they get used to the yummy flavor, and the smell of a cigarette just makes you feel fucking ill. Like if it's bad tobacco, pre-rolled cigarettes, fucking stinky fucking things. Fuck, man.
It can be a vicious cycle, though, can't it?
Yeah, yeah. I still walk past people smoking good rolly tobacco and go, damn, that smells good. You know, it's delicious. Yeah. But, you know, nothing beats the old pineapple sour with a little bit of menthol. Fucking delicious. Just to chill it out.
Well, in response to Gaffer Haynes's question, whether it's the same sensation, I'd have to say it's completely not the same sensation because, I mean, you've generously allowed me to vape from your vaping device in the past, and other people have as well. I find that it really hits me at the sort of the top of the larynx, esophagus. No, esophagus is the food one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really like scrapes on the back of my neck more so than smoking. But again, is that just simple conditioning? Is it just what I'm used to?
You're used to the drawback method. So that's called mouth to lung. So you fill your mouth up with smoke and then you breathe it in. So that's called mouth to lung. And what I use at the moment is a direct to lung, or DTL. So you pull this thing like you would a bong. Take a big rip on it, breathe it straight in. You don't let it build up before you inhale it. You just inhale it straight, breathe it out. Apples.
See, people have mentioned those methods to me in the past, and I feel that I do both methods when smoking a cigarette. I can do straight down the neck, or I will do mouth, depending on. I don't even know what it depends on, actually. Either way just happens. Oh, we got a couple of new viewers in. We have the Cocaine Holocaust. Look out. And Fishy Fun 57. How are you, Fishy Fun? Cocaine Holocaust, new name to the stream. Welcome aboard.
Jack and Dan. So I had early onset emphysema starting to kick in when I was smoking cigarettes. Like I could hear the crackle when I was going to sleep and breathing
Is that what
in.
that is?
Yeah, the little crackly sound. And that's totally cleared up. It's gone. So I'm a big vape advocate. I think it's really helped me, and you know, I've gotten my cardiovascular health has improved to no end. Cigarettes help me with depression. Vaping is just fashion. Hey, Cocaine Holocaust. Man, I don't do this for the fashion. I do this for the sheer pleasure. This is like a fine fucking cigar. You know, I get so much nicotine delivery. I went back and last year or the year before, I went to a music festival and I asked them if I could bring my vape, and they said no, it's illegal in Queensland. So I ended up buying some Kretek cigarettes from a friend who was coming back from Bali, and they're like 32 milligram tar babies. They're fucking nasty, you know. And I remember smoking them when I was a cigarette smoker and going, damn, these are great. Man, I was charging on these 32 milligram fuckers and I wasn't getting the nicotine. Whereas with my vape, it just delivers nicotine just so efficiently that, you know, a good hard six tokes on the fucker and I'm done for a good hour.
I used to keep it. Sorry, keep going.
When I'm drinking, I'll just puff away on it occasionally and never stop.
Yeah, I used to keep a packet of Gudang Garams in storage just for that sake, that you could take a few puffs on one of those guys that were reportedly anywhere between 35 and 45 milligrams of whatever. and a few puffs on one of those, and you knew you had nicotine in your system or something. Crikey, those things hit you in the guts.
Yeah. I wonder if the Americans have ever got access to that stuff. That's like might be an Australian speciality coming from Bali.
My mic on?
Oh, g'day, Streetwise. I was wondering when you were going to pipe up. Your mic is on, but you're very quiet.
Let me check the levels. How's that?
That's much better, friend.
I'm trying to figure out this mic. It's a music mic, so I got to figure out what the gain is required.
That's what I've changed to today. I've changed to my vocal mic instead of my condenser microphone.
I think this one's actually for instruments. It's like an SM57. I haven't used it for years.
SM57s are still good for vocals.
Aren't I supposed to have a 58?
Well, 58s are, they're the industry standard for vocals, but 57s are still good for vocals. 57s are excellent for guitar amplification, most definitely, but they certainly are, it takes probably an ear akin to Chewy's ear to pick the difference between a 57 and a 58.
I probably destroyed all those nerve cells, but I did manage to fit a foam power head filter on the end of the mic to clear the S's out.
To make it look like a licorice flavored ice cream.
It's a little squared off, and it's green. Are my shrimp and ember tetras making their way to Australia?
Well, they're on screen, if that's what you mean. Well,
yeah. I mean, that's as close as they'll get.
Hang on. I will solo your performance so we can actually see the life.
Well, I'm not doing any swimming myself, and I'm not sure where the blue reflections are from, but
very pretty.
Yeah, that's a 7.5.
Gaffer Haynes, thanks for hanging out, mate. We'll see you soon if you're still here.
Those are my oddball Neos and about 7 Ember Tetras in a dirted 7.5 gallon.
And what's your plant situation? What are we looking at? Some Crips and some Val, is it?
Crips definitely.
Bottom right-hand corner.
Do I have Val in there? I can't remember.
The front bottom right-hand corner.
I'll trust your judgment here. Let me move the camera around, and but I have to pull the headphones off. I'll trust what you see because you probably know the plants.
I hope you trust that when you pull something off.
They're all slow plants. They're slow.
When you say pull something off down in Australia, that means something very different to what probably you mean.
Well, my shoes are currently boots and not thongs. Or wait, what's the term that's bad down there, or best?
Yeah, we like thongs.
Right. Oh no, you don't do flip flops.
No,
you scare Americans with thongs.
I think flip flops is what.
Sorry, as a sailor, thongs on feet, like that's normal for me. I get it, but the other Americans don't.
I think flip flops are what strippers wear, aren't they?
Flip flops are lightweight, cheap footwear. They're your thongs, whereas your thongs are hugging underwear.
Yeah, well, see, what I was doing was I was to coin a phrase, I was flipping the terminology and saying that strippers wore flip flops and not thongs.
Oh, see, yeah. I think I must be too familiar with Australians to get baited so easily.
Yeah, that's how deep my comedy delves.
Let's see what I can I just got new webcam, so I'm going to try to mess with this remotely with my Logitech camera settings app. Let's see.
Hey, look, come on! I'm not sponsored by Logitech yet. We're working on it.
Ooh.
I'm still in negotiations with Spotify about whether we take this live stream to Spotify or not.
No,
Hey,
I just
topical comedy.
I just focused on the shrimp. I don't know what they say about that, but maybe it's a thing.
Yeah, I got nothing for shrimp.
Are the shrimp blue?
This is my oddball tank. So the shrimp are everything.
Yeah, nice.
So there's yellow, there's red, there's wild type. It's intentionally anything goes. And those Embatetras, they couldn't care less. So it's in my opinion, they're one of the few fish that really won't put fry in their mouth, even though they're sized right to eat fry.
As in
Shrimp fry.
shrimp, yeah, right.
They're just too. I mean, look at them. They don't even want to. They're like, yeah, I'm not out of my lane.
I don't have the patience for line breeding shrimp, so I'm
me neither.
Much more partial to what they call a Skittles tank instead of a a species specific or a color specific tank. I'd rather all colors going at once.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
So I'm finally putting a long form video out on YouTube.
A long form. What does that mean? Like a video more than a minute long?
Like an hour.
Oh, crikey. That's going to take some rendering and uploading.
So Anthony's here.
He is.
So,
he's asking me questions about underwear that I'm choosing not to answer.
So I hope I didn't get my directions wrong from him and redfish, bluefish. That basically Saturday at midnight, I've got an outdoor tub video that's gonna do that YouTube premiere thing.
Yeah, huh?
So it's like pre-recorded, but people chat.
Yeah.
So
now I've heard interesting things about YouTube. Yes. That they are definitely good to get initial views from, but YouTube doesn't necessarily promote a premiere after the fact.
You know, at this point, I just don't want to be a doofus. I just want to say, I can, show a tank online and not say too many times.
Sure. One thing I've been on I don't know if people know, but I've been on a little bit of a hiatus from making videos and whatnot. But one thing I considered doing was, when I released a video, was release it as a premiere, but then also release it as a separate entity, just as a video after the fact, to try and wrangle with that theory that YouTube doesn't promote premieres. So that might be something worth considering as well.
Yeah.
If that stuff still rings true.
I mean, I'll see how that goes. I have a regular job, but I just want to be part of the community, and in this case, I put some pond tanks out. Nice.
Now, I did also earlier allude to whether, I know it was you earlier in the piece who was saying that you've come along to learn some Australian slang. Were you here when we were discussing the Australian slang word root?
I don't know if I was there, but I certainly know that term for getting down in a dark room.
Well, I like that one. That almost half answers my next question. I was going to say,
I'm on Sailing Anarchy as a forum for a decade, and there's certainly plenty of Australians on there to school us.
Right. Well, that was my next thing.
And try to take back the America's Cup.
I was going to ask you if you could use it in two separate sentences, meaning two separate things, as a possible segment.
The American broke into the American rooted a server so he could get onto an Australian live stream where an Aussie was rooting a Kiwi.
I mean, it didn't necessarily fit the brief, but I'll allow it because it did use two separate meanings of the word.
My double pluggers are rooted.
Just make sure to ask a Kiwi about where they go out their back door onto to overlook their lawn.
On their
they call it.
Their big beck dick.
And God forbid they have to treat it.
You lost me on that one. That's stain their dick.
Whatever that ad is, there's an ad that got cross-posted where it's the Kiwis with where they're going to stain their dick.
Yeah. I do remember that. It's almost internet nostalgia, that ad. It was seemed so long ago, but it was probably only a few weeks ago.
So was it the Aussies or the Kiwis who did the front fell off outside the environment?
I'm unfamiliar with this one. What about you, Beast? Are you familiar?
Never heard of the front falling off.
It's some classic comedy duo, and it's about some boat where half of it burned up, and they said, well, the front fell off. Come on, I swear it's a classic Aussie comedy duo. I'm gonna Google it, and then you're gonna say that name is familiar.
We're certainly going to need closure now.
Yeah.
We can't go this far without.
I'm intrigued.
And
Clark and Daw, the front fell off.
Clark and Daw. Oh, that's they used to be.
Is that Kiwi or Aussie?
No, they're Australian.
Okay.
Brian Daw, was it? And John Clark.
Yeah, so they have a classic skit among sailors about this boat where the front fell off. Basically, something terrible happened.
Is it a euphemism for someone's penis falling off?
No, it's talking about boats. And they say the boats are not built with a cellotype or.
Are you not familiar with Clark and Daw, Beast?
Clark and Daw, no.
They used to, like, they're both gentlemen who wear suits and always appear as themselves, but they would always play different characters, even though they appeared
like
as
politicians
themselves.
and shit.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Politicians,
Yeah, I know those guys,
news people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ABC.
You know, it's like they're both a straight man in a ridiculous scenario.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a perfect way to describe them.
Yeah.
In this case, about boat transportation safety. Like when they say what's the minimum crew, where one of them is like, well, I assume one person.
Makes sense, isn't it?
It must be on YouTube. You should be allowed to throw that into the stream. It's probably pre-licensed.
I probably could, but it's so much more entertaining hearing you talk about them.
Oh,
impressed.
then
I
should
thought
I
that was
try
like
to
some
should I
serious
try to
shit.
find a quoting thing and try my best Antipodean accent?
Well, I'm
It
not.
won't work.
I mean,
They're so dry. They're so dry.
I'm going to be the opposite to Beast's negative attitude and say it can't hurt. Let's hear it.
Go for it,
All
yeah.
my links are YouTube links. If I have to read it myself, I'm gonna have to hit the second page of the search results.
Oh,
The
Let's see.
transcript.
Ooh,
These-
Reddit. Maybe
these things-
Reddit has the quotes. Hold on.
Basically, those guys had an unbelievable ability to cast satire across many different avenues, whilst, like you said before, appearing as the straight men and not succumbing to costume or shenanigans or anything like that. They just were themselves, but they were being someone else.
Right
And it
now
was-
my search results are true things that are similar to the satire, which is a little depressing.
Well, we did say that before that the Google algorithms are always listening, and potentially sometimes the algorithm listens to prevent you getting to where you want to go.
Well, hopefully they won't understand either of us.
That is a good topic.
Oh shoot, I'm getting the real results, but they're just YouTube links again. They're all curated. You're the host. You need to just play this one. It's going to be better than me browsing till I fall asleep.
My
Look, I'm totally willing to read the words,
guests,
but I can't
guests
find them.
can share their screen as well. You
Say
need to
what?
just get my guests can share their screen as well.
Yeah,
whatever
but
you
would it
want.
do the audio full justice compared to you hosting it?
Well, I can't necessarily do John Clark or Brian Dawes' voice very accurately because they have very distinctive.
Oh no, what I mean is all I can find is a YouTube link. I'm willing to try the words if I can find them and embarrass myself. But right now I'm just finding links to the videos.
I see. So what you're essentially saying is you're going to
I'm
What-
semi-useless.
no, I was going to say you're going to watch the video, you're going to make your own transcript, and you're going to come back to us in the near future with your transcript and reading in your version of
Well,
the.
perhaps I will try that.
I think that would make a really good segment.
I think what I will have to do is try to be boring and not be noticed.
Lucky Oda said, "There is no try, there is only do."
I know you. All you will. You'll just know that I'm secretly a Manchester United fan, and maybe that'll come through.
Wow, you actually said Manchester United fan in an English accent.
Sorry.
I saw that. I noticed that. I heard that. And don't be sorry for it. DMC, hello. How are you? And Ro, you're talking about, I think you're talking about Dick Root.
Yeah.
Excuse
I
me.
think
He likes the dick.
It was made. I mean, the first time I started hearing about Dick Root was on Joe Rogan's podcast, I think, when he was talking about a particular politician maybe sharing selfies where his dick root was exposed.
Right.
I think that's where the term. I don't think people actually refer to the penis as the root. I think there's the dick root.
There's rooting, which is the action of using the dick. But in Australia, I've never heard someone refer to their member as a root.
No.
No.
It's more of a verb.
It's a verb.
When that's referred to, yeah. But
I could see that as the 90-degree
called.
Junction.
It's still an adjective.
Emma.
So that root can be used as an adjective as well as a verb.
No, we're talking about it being used penis.
I understand.
But you've never heard someone call their
No.
penis a root.
No.
If
then
she's qualified that, then I'm done.
Yeah. My wife's getting involved from the laundry.
Well, it's good to get external opinions and stuff.
It's
but,
a point of reference in the laundry.
Exactly. Especially when you're talking about roots in the laundry.
Oh. There's a couple of mattresses stashed in there. I suppose it's possible.
we're in the laundry.
Yeah. Michael's saying we could have a root in the laundry.
I think the most tame way to put it would be the 90 degrees for the change in direction.
In what way? What do you mean? I'm lost.
From standing up straight to standing out.
Okay.
Right.
90 degrees.
That's generous. I'm lucky to get 84.
Well, we measure as you choose.
So much weight on the far end. It's lucky to get that high.
I'm not saying I'm not providing any reference.
I can't believe I just said that.
I'm still PG-13 as far as I'm concerned here.
Well, that makes one of us.
I shouldn't have said that.
Too young, mate. Too young. We call that jailbait in Australia.
I know I ruined it.
Pardon me.
So, would either of you guys do you want me to test any crazy Seppo food that you can't get down there on these shrimp? Is there a brand that you want to?
Chicken in a can.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
God,
like
yeah,
it.
I think that would kill a 7.5 gallon.
Oh.
Unless I could throw my cat in there, and he wouldn't be happy about that either.
Try some food. Oh, fish food.
Yeah, just wait, hold on. Let's make this a product preview, not a review, because no one's serious.
I'd like to know, do shrimp prefer just plain cucumber, or do they prefer a pickle?
I haven't tried either of those things.
There's some good videos on YouTube of shrimp just loving the shit out of cucumber.
I've seen zucchini. I haven't seen cucumber. Pickle. That's great for
Hamburgers.
for a pickleback for a whiskey.
Oh, yeah. We both lit up, I think, right then.
Yeah, you were
Pickles and
surprised.
I mean,
No.
I like whiskey.
Pickleback is in between. It's
I
a
like
pause.
whiskey. I like pickles. I like the sound of this. Please explain.
So like I live here in Waterbury, Vermont. We have a local restaurant which is Southern themed called Prohibition Pig. Is my mic up enough, by the way?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, so they have a drink called the Pickleback, or I don't know if that's the exact name of the drink, but it's Whistle Pig bourbon. It's a little more specific than bourbon. It's what's more specific than bourbon?
Rye whiskey.
It's a rye. Yes, it's a rye.
Yeah.
So it's a rye, and then you get a chaser, which is a small glass of pickle brine.
Oh,
So you sip your whiskey, you make the face, you get the taste, then you reset your palate with a little bit of salty pickle brine, and then you go again
Right.
until you're ready to repeat or switch.
like I like the sound of the whole process, apart from the fact that you said a little sip of your whiskey.
Sip as much. Sip, gasp,
A gasp
Gargle.
of whiskey. That should be an actual
lose your breath.
unit measure.
Whatever your unit measure, you clear your palate with the pickle, and then you go.
I've actually heard of the pickle brine thing in America before, actually on TV. Some culinary show, and they're showcasing local traditions. And yeah, I've heard of the pickle juice being
Like a tonic or something.
It sounds surprising, but it's no different than salt and vinegar with like lemon yogurt or salsa and sour cream.
You had me at salt.
It's the same contrast.
But people swear by
bite, and then mellow.
Yeah, they reckon that the pickle juice prevents hangovers too.
That's possible.
Like it calms the guts down and it inhibits the after effects of alcohol for some reason.
The only legitimate hangover thing I've heard of besides hydration is that
you start again straight away as soon as you wake up.
This is weird. This is one thing, and like I don't like any sexist stereotypes, but this came from my dad maybe as a bartender that that wine what's the Italian red wine?
Sangria.
No, not that one. Although that may have a thing. What is it? Chianti Classico for men seems to have a lower hangover rate.
Okay.
It may or may not for women. I don't know. I don't have a rate for that, but my dad gave me advice that like if you're going to drink red wine, drink Chianti Classico, and maybe it'll take less hydration with the tannins.
That just sounds like marketing to me.
I don't know. I mean, I was never much of a wine guy to test the theory, but I certainly like tannins in my dirt tanks. So that part works. But I don't get headaches if I top off my dirt tanks.
Now, I don't know about
I don't know. Maybe a wine drinker can post their opinion on that.
I don't know if I've even.
It was just like a headache, tannin, dehydration thing with some like dad advice. So I don't mean to make it apply to anybody.
Okay. Rose says she likes drinking pickle juice. Go Rose. Yeah. And she also dirty.
Yeah, I was going to say she also clarified that she wasn't trying to be a filthy animal, but she clearly was. Now, I don't know about you.
I'm finally getting my chance to read the chat back a little bit. So, okay.
That happens when you pause for a moment.
I seem to be able to read English. And I see some words.
I haven't actually seen any Chianti in our local bottle shops. Does it exist? Do we have official Chianti down here? Or do we have pale imitations because it's like the champagne thing where you can't release an alcoholic beverage under a localized name branding, perhaps?
Yeah, they got in trouble with the marsala. They had to call it something else. And since then, it's, really hard to find. But marsala chicken with like mushrooms. Ooh, fuck, you reduce that shit down with the cream. fucking delicious. Maybe in America the laws are different, but yeah,
I think
Marsala
it's
wine.
mostly France and Italy that protect their regions.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have our crazy stuff in America, but it's less about regional names,
Well,
more
Italy is
about
not.
stupid statues.
We have a wine in Australia called Spumante.
That sounds like a wet gasp.
Yeah, break it down into syllables. Spew, man, tay. I don't know what the
It's
tay is.
vaguely Italian.
I don't know what the tay is, but it definitely can make a man spew.
You know what, Kayla? With the clear alcoholic beverages create less hangover symptoms. You know what? We've got this vodka here in Australia called Vodka O, and I swear you can just drink a whole bottle of that to yourself, and it's that clear and that pure that you don't even feel fucking drunk. So it's all about the impurities that make you feel drunk, and that's why like Scotch, it's filled with like the fusel alcohols and all these
Bits of
fucking
timber.
ugly, yeah, all this fucking shit that if you drink too much of it, you will fucking spew. Like you can't drink too much of it, but you feel wasted.
Anthony, cheers. I realize how hard it is to read the chat even when I'm just posting shrimp and ember tetras.
It's good practice. But thanks for
my.
hanging out, Anthony.
See you, Anthony.
I might have to investigate Jack and Dan's theory because I got to go and wrestle again. I'll be back shortly.
Yeah, road vinegar is good for the body. We need acids, just like we need fats. You know, so many people in Australia, like especially people in their elderly years, have been convinced that cholesterol is really bad, and they take statins and shit. And those drugs really fuck with the brain because the brain is primarily fat, like it needs oils.
Aren't there multiple forms of cholesterol?
Yeah, there are, but we need the body, like our food for so many years, we would treasure fatty food because of its nutritional value. You know, it's just one tier under alcohol as far as being energy producing.
I think some of the value levels for this food or that depend on like where you are on, I don't know, some sort of consumption spectrum versus production spectrum or something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like put anyone in a box. It seems like an XY grid kind of.
Just the simple thing of like pork belly that's been slow cooked and rendered, and the fat just turns to jelly and it's delicious to eat. You know, that would be considered a really unhealthy food, but it's fucking delicious. It's fucking really, if it's done well, it's fucking really good. And I'll never stop eating it. I'll go for that slow rendered Chinese pork belly whenever I can get up to Brisbane again. That'll be my next stop, is go to the Chinese restaurant and have their soup dumplings and their pork belly with rice. Fuck yeah.
Which one? The one in Fortitude Valley?
No, in the mall down the mall, Queen Street Mall, and downstairs. Delicious. Can't remember the name, but I can walk there if I can get to Brisbane. I know where it is. And the other one, they've got a Japanese place, and on a Wednesday, if you buy one beer, you get half price teppanyaki skewers, and they do Wagyu beef for like $3.50 for a pair of skewers. Fuck me. That Wagyu beef, so fucking good. See, it's all about the marbling. It's all about the fat. You need the fat for the
Sure
flavor.
is. Hmm.
I mean, isn't there a whole book and TV series on like heat, fat, salt? Maybe
be.
they have a fourth item, but I mean, those are the kind of the basics. I mean, when I wanted to get healthier, I started, cooking 6 sticks of bacon and having 3 eggs scrambled every morning rather than skipping breakfast.
Yeah.
And that was good for me.
Yep.
I
The
think-
metabolism up.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the time our bodies need to be.
Because I'm skinny and not, I need to jump in. Sorry to interrupt.
Human bodies need to be conditioned to process the fats that we store. And one of the best ways that we can condition our bodies to process our fats is to avoid a lot of carbohydrates. I mean, so I've been told.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Americans get fat from bread,
Yeah.
Yeah. Humans eat way too
if
much
you
bread,
will.
especially the heavily processed white breads. But then you go to the other end of the scale and say, well, I'm going to eat a wholemeal bread or something like that. But then you're eating too many cereals and grains, so it's a double-edged sword. We just should avoid too much bread and processed carbohydrates as it is.
I remember one thing I read back in the day was some study about the order of meals. So if you were to go to, I think the example might have been a French restaurant, and if you got your bread at the end of the meal, it turned out way better than if you got that bread at the beginning of the meal.
Yeah,
even
I
if
agree.
you ate the rest of the items.
Yeah.
Because you didn't fill up, you didn't get set up for this like carbohydrate spike and
Later on.
detente.
Yeah, because your body's already working on the oils and the fats of the rest of your meal, and then
Yeah,
the
your bread was your
carbohydrates-
dessert.
Yeah,
Mm. Spaghetti bolognese, buttered bread at the end, mop up all that leftover sauce. Fucking bang on. Delicious.
Oh, I want some bolognese. That sounds so good. That's
Delicious.
What I miss in my small town Vermont is Greek food. I want a gyro and
souvlaki.
Moussaka.
whatever,
Moussaka.
all of them. I want meat that spins on a spit that's vertical and is sliced off, and I want to know that I had a good night because I have tzatziki sauce on my sneakers the next morning.
That's just called a kebab shop here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I can go to Burlington for that in Vermont, but that's 30 minutes away. I'd like to go 3 minutes for that, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Blake's
Yeah.
Aquatics has just showed back up, and he's currently experiencing the keto diet, I believe is what he calls it, where he's just
Oh,
eating
does he have
meat and
sauce on
cheese.
his shoes?
He probably does. He's a very, very messy eater.
Tzatziki on his thongs?
I don't think he's a tzatziki kind of guy. He might have some other white sauce on his shoes, though, knowing his extracurricular activities.
Some
Oh.
man cream.
Oh,
Some root sauce.
Roots.
I'll let you tease the
pickle juice.
Australians. I'm just here to tease myself. Oh, that sounds even worse.
Root sauce and pickle juice.
Yeah, let me rinse off the pickle juice.
That's what she said.
Oh,
Hey, that was pretty quick.
but an aquarium person would have to get the pH right to pull off that move.
He said pull off again. It makes me giggle almost every time.
It's about eating lots of pineapple. Hey, in America, have you ever heard of a drink called tepache? Being in Vermont.
Tepache?
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds like a Spanish pun.
It's a Mexican fermented pineapple juice drink, like kombucha.
We have kombucha. I mean, people love the weird fermented stuff here. We're like the microbrew state. We probably have
Right.
more IPAs than any other state in America. But
Right.
hold on, let me Google that. What was that called again?
Tepache, Tepache.
All right, Tepache.
That stuff is fucking delicious. I fucking love the shit out of it. But the only local seller of it has shut shop because of the fucking virus. So
Oh,
it's
that's
been a month.
terrible.
Yeah, it's been a good couple of months since I've had a bottle of that. But
Well,
man,
my first results are Vermont Lynx pineapple Tepache.
Is that all they make it on? Is it just pineapple?
I don't know anything. I'm getting myfermentation.com links.
maybe a bit of cinnamon, could be a bit of sugar
Some
added to it.
cider links.
Yeah, it like
The main
With the
squeeze.
the kombucha. If you let it go for too long, it does go a bit alcoholic.
Oh, I
So-
just got a 404 link.
Oh,
You know, you might have more info than I do if I'm getting broken links.
yeah, I've got a friend in Mexico.
That tells me the marketing is outpacing the knowledge.
Yeah.
But
It's
it does
pretty-
seem to be fermented pineapple
Yeah,
and maybe combined with kombucha. Is that what you're saying?
it's like kombucha. Yeah, kombucha. Yeah, it's like the booch, but instead of being just fermented tea, it's actually pineapple juice.
I had an ex-girlfriend turned roommate in Boulder, Colorado in the 90s who grew that stuff. And I don't know, maybe for that reason, I never... It was like she was in love with a mushroom in a glass jar next to the bed more than me.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes
But that,
people.
I mean, that worked out for me, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sometimes people's vehement attitudes are enough to turn you off, even if it's something that's good for you.
Yeah.
The oversell, I think they call it.
Yeah.
I think in Boulder in the mid 90s, it was like, it was an edgy thing before kombucha. Like, all I knew is that my ex-girlfriend, new roommate, kept a mushroom in a jar on her bedside table after she stopped dating me.
What a trade-off.
But hey,
I'm gonna grab another drink. I'll be back in a sec.
Righto.
these
Yes.
pictures online are certainly...
Of the fermented pineapple stuff.
I don't know. It scrolls into ads pretty quickly, so it's like hard to compare what I'm looking at versus the X-Files episode it's advertising.
Yeah, I find it really interesting that back in the 80s, my mum was growing kombucha in the kitchen, and then it all disappeared, and no one heard anything about it until the 2000s, and it was all back.
Interesting. In the 80s, she did that.
Yeah.
What was there an Australian version of the word hippie, or was it just hippie?
Well, I mean, that's my parents certainly weren't those, but aspects of that kind
I
of
mean, I don't know
lifestyle.
the balance of your continent for
We live
generation.
in hippie central.
We kind of
This
do.
town Olympic
I mean,
is like-
Vermont's weird. We're like a hippie state you know, that where people, they're hippies, but they also go to the gun range.
Oh, where's Pam when you need her? Pam loves the fireball. I don't mind that fireball too.
Oh man,
How long's
best
it?
thing is you have a fireball and then you drink some apple cider. This 7% shit.
I don't know how much
Like
they do
apple
fireballs here in Vermont. You would do 1,000,000 IPAs. We're the heady topper state, the Cabot, Ben and Jerry's. God, I feel like I'm promoting our stereotypes for my town, but
It sounds like it, but you
they're
know,
cool. I kind of like them.
I'll allow it.
I like your stereotypes too. Well,
Oh,
at
we've
least
got
the sailing ones.
I've got a company in Australia called Panhead that makes beer.
Oh,
It's a bit pricey, but the
Panhead, they don't make screws.
Panhead does XPA, and they've got an American Pale Ale as well. I'm a bit partial to it.
They call it the American Pale Ale.
Yeah,
That's interesting. What's their definition? That's cool.
just
I won't
certain
judge.
hops. It's the hops. You know, it's got a different.
Is it
flavor
what we
profile.
would say like an IPA or a Mosaic or?
I think it's the heavy use of Galaxy hops and other American hops.
Okay,
but
okay, I got it.
We're a local brewery called Stone and Wood, and they're fucking hell experimental. They've always got it. They've been shut down for a while now, but when you go to their brewery, there's like 4 different beers that are just limited release stuff, and the best of the bunch gets canned up, and they sell a 500ml can for about 14 Australian dollars.
Oh,
That's a pint.
Yeah,
wow.
pretty fucking pricey, but man, sometimes they just knock it out of the park. Like I got a 7.6% mango one, and the Galaxy hops with the mango, amazing.
I believe it. I mean, I think if someone from your region came to our region, they would have fun picking up various pints and checking them out.
Yes, I am keeping Swedish cider. It's stocked in our local bottle shop. I get a 6-pack of these 7%ers, 2.4 standard drinks per can, and it's $16 for a 6-pack.
Is cider the biggest thing where you are?
It's subsidized. Like it's cheaper. It's not as taxed as high as beer or spirits.
Huh. Because we have cider in like Stowe, Vermont, and Waterbury Center, Vermont. That's one of our local things. But there's probably, you know, if I was at the local pub, it would have probably like 8 ciders on tap and maybe 60 beers on tap.
Fuck. That sounds fun. You could get through them all without.
And those are just the Vermont ones.
Wow. And GRB, the piggery is now Byron Bay Brewery, which is being bought out by Nathan Lyon. So, which are international.
They no
I've
longer
heard of Byron Bay.
They no longer butcher pigs there. They make beer there, and
they make beer there,
and have lots of backpackers.
Yeah, and
interesting.
Their beer is amazing. They did something called, what was it, an IPL? So instead of an India Pale Ale, it was an India Pale Lager. So it was a really hoppy lager, and it was fucking delicious.
That makes sense. I've seen some stuff here like Green State Lager being very popular, even though the IPAs are probably slightly more popular. You know, I don't know, something up here. We get like people who come up from Boston and will buy like a 12-pack and drive back to Boston, and it's like 5 hours each way or something.
Jeez. Wow.
Thanks for
we
hanging
just-
out, Bob.
We
We'll see
kind
you
of get
soon.
to take it for granted.
See you, Taylor. Yeah. My mum owned a property. She just sold it last week, but she had a property that's a sourdough bakery in Berry, which is about 2 hours south of our state's capital city. Sydney.
Wait, Barry, Vermont?
No, Berry, Australia, Berry. And
We
people
have
would
Barry, Vermont, Barre, like
Right.
Welsh named.
Okay. But people would drive 2 hours just to get bread in their fucking Lamborghini. And it was so much fun living in the cottage next door to it. Because you just sit out the front smoking ciggies, having a drink, and just car spot all day long. It's just awesome. And they were like lining up to eat food at the restaurant, and I just walk over, say, "Yep, deliver it to the door. I'll just stay in the cottage. Yeah, no worries. There's always a table free at the cottage," and get this fucking delicious breakfast delivered to my house.
So let me do a name. Let me do a name check. Barry, Vermont is famous for granite quarries.
Okay.
Any commonplace with the folks who went to Australia and named a town Barry?
No, because they're spelt completely differently.
I'm just saying people came from Wales and named a Vermont or Italy. I don't know. We have the town was based on Italians and Welsh people.
I'm a stone
running-
guy. What were they quarrying?
Yeah, I think it was
Granite.
Granite, right? So we got a whole exposed.
So that was
massive
Barry,
section of
Barry,
Australia.
Vermont, Barre.
We've got a
Vermont.
granite belt that runs inland over the dividing range in the inland, and
Okay.
there's just so much granite.
Did anyone name one of those towns Barry?
No.
No.
We've got
'Cause-
BERRI, and they make fruit, which is in
Huh.
the Riverina, and then there's BERRY, which is where I was raised.
Because the name I'm referencing it isn't it's not original. Like we didn't think of it. Somebody moved here and picked it.
Yeah. But
And
yeah, granite.
I think it's Welsh.
Granite's
But-
really easy just to pick up off the ground still. Like there's so much granite in our granite belt that you don't need to quarry for it. You just
Or maybe it attracted Welsh immigrants and Italian immigrants because they
Yeah.
had the skill set.
Yep. That's probably the reason.
And we have Bald Rock not too far away from here, which I think is the largest piece of exposed granite on the planet, or maybe just the southern hemisphere.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of granite in Australia of varying qualities, but it's there's just literally so much of it exposed on the surface. It would be just ridiculous to mine for it and quarry for it.
So one thing I learned about Vermont, and maybe this is a factoid that's correct, and maybe it's not correct, but it's definitely interesting since you're Australian, is that where I am in the Northeast with Lake Champlain, the Champlain Sea, from my research, might be the oldest reef on the planet at like 500 million years old. Now it's no longer a reef, and you have the biggest like living reef.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
how
And
long?
I have the biggest
Yeah.
dead reef.
Yeah, it's migrating south. A lot
So-
of
So that's a 500 million years in between those two items. But
yeah.
anyway, that would be I kind of want it to be true. I think it might be true. But it's when you look that stuff up.
Well, you got to
But
be
I-
very fussy about the information you receive, don't you? You never know who's telling you the right stuff.
I think it's true. I think I think Vermont has, or the Lake Champlain, which used to be the Champlain Sea, was an old inland sea, and we have a very old reef. My folks, their property, they had to drill through a couple 100 feet of limestone to tap a well.
Nice. What's the water like?
It's on the hard side.
Yeah, right.
I have a webcam playing. I don't know if I can throw up a photo.
Pardon me. Yeah, just share your screen.
Let's see if I can do that. Because my dad found a piece of limestone in the woods, which was like 800 pounds, and it looks like a piece of reef. And it probably was, although the shape could have just as easily been from like water erosion from, way after the reef was killed, rather than like, oh, this looks like what the reef looked like. Just a moment. Somewhere there's a mouse here.
GRB making mention of seeing bands at the Piggery. I remember seeing the Hard-Ons, great Australian punk band, at the Piggery. It was called the Piggery when I went there.
Yeah.
No, sorry. It was called the Arts Factory. They went from the Piggery to the Arts Factory to now Byron Bay Brewery or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But to get to the Arts Factory that night, we had to catch buses from Mullumbimby over there and then buses back. And after the show, sitting on the bus waiting to come back to Mullumbimby, and these two girls started a really full-on fist fight outside the bus. And the fight accumulated in one of the girls getting the other one in a headlock and driving her head into the side of the bus directly below my window where I was seated multiple times before she fell limp on the ground. No one stepped in to break up the fight until then. Once the other girl was lying limp on the ground, then some gracious bystanders decided to step in and pull the other one away. Timing is everything in a fight like that.
I'm still waiting for some Aussie specific vocabulary there, but I understood everything so far.
Damn. Yeah, I suppose I didn't try hard enough, did I?
You need some anti-Seppo code.
You gotta Oz up. You gotta up your power
Actually, I remember when I first jumped into one of your streams, I screwed up and I called us septics because I didn't complete the
the training.
What do you call it? The whatchamacallit, rhyming slang.
Yeah, you only went halfway there.
Right. I'm like us septics.
I mean, most people would probably get what you were getting towards and aiming at.
I think you were polite enough to not say anything and just let me continue with my self-insult all on my own.
I was probably just gracious enough to accept the fact that you got that far.
Okay. Let's see. Shoot, I'm really tempted to just troll you with the Clark and Daw link and pretend that I did the research.
Well, it might want to be quick because I think we're going to get out of here any second now.
Oh. Well, in that case, let's save it for another day then.
All right, and yes, GRB, that is one of my personal favourites as well. How's your bum for grubs?
It sounds like checking for parasitic infestations.
Nematodes.
now, Streety, you've got your homework is to work out the etymology of that statement. How's your bum for grubs?
It probably means, have you run out of drinks?
Well, I'm not going to indulge you with speculation at the moment. I'm going to leave it entirely up to you.
I'm just saying that's my best guess based on where you're from.
Probably a good guess. The old front letter
Wait.
swappage.
Sorry,
No.
hold on. You can cut me off as soon as I type it into Google. What was it again? Something about couldn't find your grubs or cut off your grubs.
How's your bum for grubs? It's on the screen.
Okay. All right. I think that's a great way you should start your next chat.
Thanks,
Unless
Jack.
you want my response, because maybe it'll be funny.
Well,
a friendly greeting when meeting a close friend or member of the family. Oh, you guys are sweet.
I don't know if you'd necessarily use it with family members that you love.
I'm sorry. The first result is the Macquarie Dictionary, and maybe you don't respect them.
Which dictionary?
The Macquarie.
Macquarie.
Yeah.
That's a specific region, right? Or
Macquarie.
Yeah, that doesn't represent Australia as a whole, right?
No, it's probably something to do with Welsh granite mining or something.
Oh, now you're making it personal.
Macquarie.
It's got quarry
All right.
in the name, and it's
Urban Dictionary is how are you? What's been happening? Good old-fashioned Aussie slang. A very informal greeting. And then they start hashtagging it. And then some warning to parents. But I think that's an ad.
Probably. But yeah, like I said, your homework will be to discover the etymology of such a term. It's nice that you've worked out what it means in its simplicity, but I'd want to know if you can find out with your supreme powers of Googling, pardon me, if you can work out the origin. This statement needs an origin story.
Well, I would hope you have parasites, the biggest parasites as big as your arm, so you won't get eaten by trolls.
Well, to bring it back to fish, I found a Gordian worm in my fish tank once. A beetle had been mind controlled to fly into the water, and as soon as it hit the water, out burst this wire worm. I don't know if you've ever handled a Gordian worm before, but they are fucking hard and they're so strong. It's like this.
You had one of those like brain rotting parasite things.
Yeah, this thing was like huge. It was
like where they make the ant climb to the top of the tree and then.
Yeah, it wasn't cordyceps. That's a mushroom. That's a fungus that does it to the ants. But this Gordian worm was in a tiger beetle, and the tiger beetle is like aliens. That's where Geiger got his idea from it. As soon as the beetle got in the water, the Gordian worm knew it was in water, and it just burst through its fucking back end. And next minute, I got this fucking giant creature that is ready to lay eggs or whatever it does. And
yeah, those things freaky.
And I fucking got the thing out of it really quickly. And my dad's a herpetology professor. So I got on the phone to him and said, Dad, I found this worm thing that's really hard. And he's like, describe it. Oh, it's really curly.
So your dad is Ridley Scott?
No. He's just a herpetology professor. But this thing just, as soon as the host creature gets commanded to go to water, as soon as it gets in the water, it gets activated and it just busts out the back end. And this giant fucking worm comes out. Fucking gross.
So if Ridley Scott didn't use that, who has?
Well, that I think that's the origin of the chest burster. Like
I think
You
so
know,
too. And
yeah.
thanks for hanging out, Derek. We'll see you soon, man.
Okay.
Take care.
Wow. I think you should lead with that on the next chat and break out a coffee table book.
They're rare things, though. You don't want to mess around with them, but they just have so much. Like, you put your finger near their front end and they push against your skin, they can just bust in. You know.
Wow.
It's a talent, a very, very, very strong talent they have.
Wow.
Righto, Streetwise, you've got your homework. I'm going to
I'm
pop
gonna
you.
nuke this stream from orbit. It's the only way.
I'm going to pop you back down now, and we can do our farewells and goodbyes and prep for next
Thanks,
week.
Beast. Thanks, Doctor. I appreciate you hosting.
Take
No
care,
worries.
man.
Super cool.
Popping up.
I will leave studio.
All right, Blacky.
One click. I don't have to do. Nice one. So, what else
It's
we got to
been
do?
fun.
It has been a good stream. We probably went a little bit longer than what I'd initially intended. Crikey, almost 4 hours again.
Yeah.
I'll be expecting my email soon. StreamYard, whatever you called. Aquarium Cop. Aquarium Cop is going to hunt for some grubs from his bum.
Nice.
I don't know if
Fish
that means.
love 'em.
I don't know if that means Cop's been lurking or if he just turned up, but sorry if I didn't see you come in, Cop. Welcome and farewell. See you on the next one. And everyone else who's been involved, Ro, thank you for maintaining our presence in the gutter. It's been good. Everyone else who's been involved with the chatter and whatnot, appreciate it lots. Thanks, Beast, for your input and whatnot.
See you next week.
Well, fingers crossed we'll catch up prior to then and do a little bit of prep so we can make this a little bit more fluent and potentially not go for 4 hours. Brevity may be our friend, may not. We'll find out over the next few weeks.
My device is running low on battery, so it's probably a good time to get out of here anyway.
All right, good timing. Thanks again, everyone.
Need an upgrade.
I need an upgrade. Need some recycling.
Yeah, need a new battery. Yeah.
Again, if you've got any ideas about things that we should talk about or that you'd like to hear us talk about, drop them in the comments or email drblack66@gmail.com. And we'll do our best to provide some lucrative entertainment based on informative stuff. That's not a shirt. No. It's too wordy for a t-shirt. Who's got time for that? All right, thanks everyone. Take it easy. Look after yourselves. Wash your hands. Cough into your armpit. I said armpit. Elbows are a waste of time. And, behave yourselves appropriately. Look after each other and all that other fun stuff, as Blake would say. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Where's that end button?
Bye-bye.